And we're live, everybody. On this one. I'm gonna let K-Pro and Cynthia take it away.
Okay. So, good morning, one and all. There's only a few times that we say breaking news, and we will go live at midnight or at 8 a.m. This is one of those times. So we news and we will go live. So I'm sure that you are aware, unless you've been on a different planet, that we have been discussing on this show what we call the motion to intervene. I know many of you have said, liar, never. Why are you making things up for clicks? So we have the motion to intervene, and we have some information that surrounds it. And some opinions. So again, since we have the direct document, we are going to begin there, set the stage a little bit with getting everyone on the same page of what the motion to intervene is, and then go into the document, what it says factually, so you can make your own opinion. And then I'm going to go into some of my opinions. I have a PowerPoint ready for it, just some opinions of mine of what this means in summary. And then, of course, you don't want to hear from crappy, poopy, terrible K-Pro. You want to hear from Cynthia because she is logical and she takes it from a different vantage point. And then also Mike. So what say you, Cynthia, before? Yeah, happy Sunday, exclamation points, and confirm there's no question marks in there. This is legitimate. Did you know there was a secret meeting with Forrest and Jack and the park? Did you know that? This is going to be great. Great, because we're going to hear it from the park. Go ahead, Cynthia.
What am I to say? I mean, what was the question? I'm getting text messages coming in. And,
I am too.
In the comments. So I'm sorry. What did you just ask me?
So we're here. We're going to go over the factual information from the doubting, terrible. Why did you even say anything before? Why did we say anything? Yeah, she is logical. Maui Bob says exactly. So, some people have been a little frustrated. Let's start with that because Michael will come back and we'll bring up the document. Some people have been, this is real breaking news. Cynthia's up before 8 a.m. You guys may not know this. Cynthia is a morning person. I'm not going to give away all your secrets, but Cynthia is a morning person and she does her workout at like 6 a.m. I always tell her when I'm staying with her, well, I just finished mine at 5 a.m. But she actually does her, but she's like the super athlete. So she goes, I mean, I'm glad we got her off the bike and in here for today. What's it? So why should we discuss anything a little early to set the stage so then we can just jump into this? That's how I feel. And for all the people that were like, you're a liar. I mean, I have some screen captures we're going to show. You're a flat out liar. There's no motion to intervene, Cynthia. You're completely making this up.
So, Christy, okay, I'm back. I just lost you for a minute because I needed to answer a text. So anyway, yeah, I'm so excited about what's happening today. Finally, I think there's vindication coming right now regarding Yellowstone National Park. And even though they don't specifically say 9 Mile Hole, the way they describe it, and what will become apparent soon when you start reading everything, I'm waiting for someone. Anyway, is God, I just lost my thought.
It's not 9 Mile Hole, but it's apparent that it's the park.
I know what I wanted to say. So I'm so excited and to get the information out there for everyone to know. But one of the things that I was so surprised in the document is when Sarah Davis from Yellowstone actually talks in detail about knowing how us searchers are still going. They know so much detail that I was blown away with. Were they actually watching me cross the damn Madison over and over and over last summer, all summer long? I don't know, but they are so more informed about what researchers have been doing than I knew. So that's neat. And this is all going to come out when you read the document.
Awesome. Yep. So we're just waiting on Mike getting back. He's getting back right there. And I will tell you, today is a no hate zone. So I've already put a couple in timeout. And that means if you want to say I doubted you or liars and negative stuff, you're not going to be here. There's a whole channel for that. And that's not here. Okay. So Mike, will you bring up the PowerPoint? Because I first want to set the stage just a little bit.
Actually, you should let them to be in the chat because in a couple minutes they can see how stupid they sound. But that's just my opinion.
Okay, well, I put one in timeout. Sorry.
That's all right. Okay. What are we doing?
Put the PowerPoint up, and I need to do something real quick.
And obviously, everybody, this is about the Beacon Star. No, just kidding.
Okay, this is the cool part. I thought the intervention. I'm sorry if you were talking.
No, go
I
ahead.
thought the intervention, the motion to intervene, was going to just be Department of Interior says this. This goes on for pages and pages and pages. Okay, so here we go. Where the treasure chest was found, confirmed. This is an entity, and they don't get involved in a court hearing unless they have evidence. Like Toby was saying, they'd have to have evidence. We're going to see why they have evidence. And Jack and Forrest had a secret meeting with the government, and we're already showing.
First, we got to. Well, all right, go ahead. Never mind. Go ahead. Yep.
Okay, next slide. Okay, this was last week's slide. Where's the motion to intervene? Well, it's here. Get ready, it's coming. No, it's here. I just want to kind of put the precursor of we were trying to tee up some of the conversation to ensure everybody already knew what this meant. So now we can jump into the content. I have 2 or 3 slides from last week just to get everybody on the same page on what is a motion to intervene, and then we'll jump right into the document. Okay. So you're going to hear Department of Justice, Department of Interior, and you're going to hear some players. Yellowstone's an easy one because it says Yellowstone. So just remember the Department of Interior is Yellowstone, and then Department of Justice is the legal arm. There's more to that, but it's not pertinent for our discussion. I can go into that. You can go in and see that last week. Okay, go ahead, Mike. So what is a motion to intervene? A person seeks to permit a motion to intervene in a lawsuit that has his own rights or interests to protect. His is Yellowstone in this case. The motion must state the grounds for the intervention, accompanied by the pleadings that set out the claim or defense on why that intervention is being sought. Okay, next slide. Let's go over the motion to intervene.
All right, go to it right now.
Yes.
All right. Okay, here it is, everybody. This is the breaking news. The biggest breaking news since the treasure chest was found, in my opinion. Okay.
Make it bigger if you can. Can you make it a little bit bigger?
Yeah, a little bit bigger. State of New Mexico, in the matter of the estate of Forrest Fenn deceased. Okay. Just go ahead and read it.
Yes.
All
we
right.
may stop. I don't know. We're kind of running by the seat of our pants.
Okay, here it is. Comes now the United States of America by and through the undersigned Council of Records and respectfully seeks to intervene in this action for the limited purpose of protecting public lands and resources. In support of its motion, the United States of America states as follows. Upon information and belief, this litigation seeks to resolve, in whole or in part, matters related to certain valuable objects hidden by decedent Forrest Fenn, the Fenn treasure, and efforts of certain individuals to find and or claim the Fenn treasure. Number 2, certain information regarding the search for and discovery of the Fenn treasure has previously been publicly disclosed, including the discovery of the Fenn treasure by interested party Jack Stoof. Number 3, upon information and belief, Mr. Stoof was originally subpoenaed to give his deposition in this matter on April 7th, 2022, which was postponed in order to address the government's effort to intervene. The deposition has now been postponed until April 29, 2022. Breaking news, Packer Jack. Number 4, in August of 2020, a Zoom meeting was held with Forrest Fenn, attorney Tom Nasco, and Jack Stoof and government officials. Let me reread that part again. In August of 2020, a Zoom meeting was held with Forrest Fenn, attorney Tom Nasco, and Jack Stoof and government officials. At this meeting, Mr. Stoof provided detailed, specific information regarding the location where he found the Forrest Fenn treasure box, the Fenn treasure, on or about June 6, 2020. Forrest Fenn then confirmed the location as the same location where he left the Fenn treasure. Using Google Earth, Chief Ranger Sarah Davis was able to locate and match the area described by both Stoof and Fenn.
Let's stop for a second.
Yeah, let me just finish this part. The
Okay.
following week, Chief Davis, along with Deputy Chief Ranger, went to the area described by both Stoof and Fenn. Okay. Tell people who Chief Ranger Sarah Davis is in case they don't know.
If you go back to the PowerPoint, I have her bio coincidentally available. Yeah.
Okay, there it is.
Who's Sarah Davis? Who is she? So in September 25th, 2019, she was appointed as Yellowstone's next resource and visitor protection director. So you can go find this on Yellowstone's website, but this is from Yellowstone. This isn't an invented person. I know some of you would be like, wait, Sarah, who is this? You need to confirm it. Confirmed. Okay. Okay. So that's who Sarah Davis is, and a pretty picture. So Sarah Davis met with, so let's really absorb this, because a lot of you had said Forrest never
Panthers. Sorry.
Forrest never met with Yellowstone. So go back to the motion. There was a Zoom meeting with Forrest, Fenn, and Jack. Jack detailed the information June 6th. Forrest detailed where he hid it. So it's not just we agreed it's a spot. It's Forrest said the spot he hid it. Jack said where he found it on June 6, 2020.
Yeah, let me reread that part, I guess. This is probably the most important part of all, is that there's no guessing anymore, guys. Okay. In August of 2020. This is 2 months after it was found, right?
And it's the month before Forrest dies.
The month right before Forrest dies.
Yep.
A Zoom meeting was held with Forrest Fenn, attorney Tom Nasco, and Jack Stoof, and government officials. At this meeting, Mr. Stoof provided detailed, specific information regarding the location where he found the Forrest Fenn treasure box on or about June 6th. Forrest Fenn then confirmed the location as the same location where he left the Fenn treasure. Using Google Earth, Chief Ranger Sarah Davis was able to locate and match the area described by both Stoof and Fenn. And the following week, Chief Davis, along with the Deputy Chief Ranger, went to the area described by both Stoof and Fenn. So, I mean, that's huge. Everybody thought it'll never come out. Well, it just did. I mean, but we'll read the rest.
Okay, wait, but so Tim just got on the phone with Sarah and they're having a little discussion. Holy Boaz, Tim's being a crack up today. Was the meeting recorded and by whom? Good question. I don't know.
If there was, I'm sure the attorneys would have a copy, but that's just my opinion.
What do you think, Sid? What do you think about this part? Before we go on to the next part.
Yeah, this is the confirmation, Christy, we have been waiting for a year, or since mid last summer. So I never actually thought we would ever see Yellowstone actually come out and actually officially announce that it was in Yellowstone. So, I mean, to me, this is huge. I never thought this was going to happen. And now everybody knows.
Yep. Okay, let's go on to the next. We'll only stop at big salient points, and then maybe there's a PowerPoint slide on all of the summary of this. So you go ahead.
April and Cynthia, where did they find it? Oh, number 5. The location described as the area where the Fenn treasure was found is public land owned by the United States government and managed by the Department of the Interior. The Department of the Interior is concerned that if specific information regarding the location were divulged, it would result in a significant increase in visitation in this area by persons still looking for the treasure site or otherwise seeking to visit the site for other reasons related to the Fenn treasure. The area where the Fenn treasure was found does not have any trails or infrastructure to support any increase in visitation to the area. Resource damage, such as the creation of social trails, informal trails resulting from erosion due to foot traffic, littering, and improper disposal of waste are a few of the expected consequences of increased visitation. The area also contains water sites that are home to native fish species that could be threatened or damaged by an increase in visitors. Well, that right there tells me you have to cross water. I mean, why would they be worried about the fish if you don't have to cross water to get to it? Anyway.
Well, if you look at all of these things, go ahead, Cynthia, and then I'll.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to comment about where she said about there's no infrastructure and about the improper disposal of waste. Let me make it perfectly clear that 9 Mile Hole has been a popular fishing spot, as well as a place for families and just tourists to go take beautiful pictures. There are a lot of people there. People have been defecating in the trees long before searchers ever started going there. But she is right. There is no infrastructure there. And I totally understand why that is one of the biggest concerns of all, because anybody that's been to 9 Mile who parks in that parking area there, if you've ever had to use the restroom and you walk into the trees there near the parking area, it's disgusting. I mean, there's toilet paper all through there. And like I said, this has been there for years. It's not just searchers. So anyway, I totally understand with an influx of people why that would be the number one concern. They really need to put a porta potty in that area. But anyway, that's
okay.
just me.
And let me get everybody on the same page, because Alan asked a question and he's a smart guy. So if he's not understanding this, I think others aren't. So why is Jack protecting his solve in the spot? I want to know where the solved in the 9 clues. Because the government has told them they are not allowed to, up to and including an intervention, a motion to intervene, which is saying it is illegal if you say it and we will come after you. So this document proves that Yellowstone has said you're not allowed to say the answer. If you do, we can get you for the trails, the infrastructure, the increased population. This is the document that proves that whole Supra thing we were talking about is real, no matter how much my mind explodes that the park has 2.2 million acres and 4 million people that go to it. They have actually intervened to say, Jack and Forrest, you're not allowed to say it. Now that it's in court and Jack, you're being subpoenaed, they're with this document saying to the judge, you are not allowed to say what the answer is. That's the reason. So why is Jack protecting his solve?
But hang on. I think what Alan was asking is, why didn't he say it in the last 2 years before this lawsuit? Why didn't Jack come out with it? Because he would have got in trouble from Yellowstone, guys. He found it inside Yellowstone National Park. He doesn't want that legal problems, right?
Well, no, I believe he had a meeting in August of 2020. And they said,
obviously he did.
Right. This was one of the myths about a year ago. And that show in the meeting, they said to them, keep your mouth shut. Not only did you illegally pick it up, you undug it, because we know that there may have been a metal detector. And Forrest and Jack, keep your mouth shut.
So, Alan, why would it make any sense legally? So where he found it, the park that owns the land where Forrest Fenn hid his treasure and Jack found it, they did a Zoom and they said, Wooly, we're not going to charge you with anything. We're not going to take the treasure chest, but don't tell anybody. Why is that?
People do if you do the Supra, right? If you do, the Supra is going to, if we have to build infrastructure, it's on your dollar. But let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Says it wasn't in Yellowstone. All right. I'm sorry.
And this proves, I think, when Yellowstone intervenes and says it was found in Yellowstone and they met with Jack and Forrest, unless you think Yellowstone and the government is now corrupt and covering for Forrest, there's some people we're never going to convince. But
Stuck in Chaselandia makes a great point. The government can't force someone to stay quiet. First Amendment prohibits it. The fact that they ask him to be quiet is not forcing him. He's making his own decision. That's true.
That's true.
But they told him, I'm sure they said, if you come out with it, guess what? We're going to charge you for every person that gets stuck in the river or washed down the river, every person we have to rescue, every tree that gets damaged, all the parking that would back up at 9 Mile Hole if that happens. I'm sure they told him, if you come out, you have a choice. If you come out with it and we have to spend any money whatsoever at the 9 Mile Hole area, we're going to charge you, Jack.
Well, and it's not only damage, it's them creating infrastructure. So if they have to put a bridge over the Madison, if they have to put a porta potty, if they have to put a kiosk that says something about danger and all that.
Do you think all the fishermen want people crossing the river in that spot? Don't you think they'd be upset for the knuckleheads that are going to show up?
Oh, I like how Holy puts it. Holy says the chest is hush money. It's kind of true. Keep your chest, Jack. Keep your mouth shut. Hush. That's kind of true. Okay, but let's keep going. We're not even through part of the document.
Number 7. Since the publishing of Decedent Forrest Fenn's
wait, stop. Can you put it up? Can you put it up on the...
Oh, yeah, sorry.
That's good.
Since the publishing of Decedent Forrest Fenn's poem, The Thrill of the Chase, in which he revealed a hidden treasure with clues to its location, treasure seekers have been charged with crimes, including stalking, damage and destruction of natural resources, reckless and disorderly conduct, and entering closed areas. since the death. This is since the death, not while he was alive. Since the death. Oh, that was since the publishing. I'm sorry. Since the death of Forrest Burke Fenn and the announcement of the finding of the Fenn treasure, treasure seekers have continued to visit various sites on public land in search of imagined unclaimed treasure, or to visit the site where they believe the Fenn treasure to have been found. If additional information about the specific site of where the Fenn treasure was found is publicly disclosed, the government reasonably anticipates a surge in visitors to areas not intended or equipped to receive a significant number of people. So that's kind of why. That's the government's point of why. Yeah, don't tell everybody where.
I mean, they didn't call out Cynthia's name or my name or Justin's name or the entire news or movie crews that are out there or anybody else. Jens, name the person that they already are. I think seeing an increase. But go ahead.
When this is done, are you going to put the PDF on Thor? Can you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So this motion will be on Thor, everybody. And Maui Bob says all the negative channels, and yet the breaking news is here. And we appreciate that, Maui Bob. Thank you.
Boom. Okay. And here's the other thing. It will be for those of you that are ordering docs in the official document system. It'll be available for order tomorrow, but we bring it to you live today.
So this McCracken case is what changed because number 8 says on or about April 4, 2022, the National Park Service learned that Mr. Stoof had received a deposition subpoena in this matter issued by the estate of Forrest Fenn. The deposition was originally scheduled for April 7, 2022, but was postponed while the government prepared to seek to intervene in this case. Who said that, I wonder? Who actually told everybody that was the case? I don't know. One of the YouTube channels, I think, talked about that. So it's interesting. 2 months after the treasure chest was found, they had a Zoom meeting with the head of Yellowstone. What's her name? What's she? The park superintendent? What's her title?
No, she's the director in charge of resource and visitor protection
of Yellowstone National Park.
National Park. We have the press release in the PowerPoint ready to go.
Okay. Gotcha.
We'll go to that after we read this.
I mean, Jack's known this the whole time. I mean, all the speculation and everything. At that meeting, I'm sure they told him, if you release it, we're going to do A, B, and C. So Jack was like, my hands are tied. Now, this deposition, he can't lie under oath. So that would have forced him to say it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I got it. All right. Number 9. The government's limited sole purpose in seeking to intervene is to seek an order from the court preventing the disclosure of the specific locations on public land where Mr. Stoof looked for the Fenn treasure, as well as the location where he found it, as well as to attend depositions and hearings where information about locations on public land where the Fenn treasure was looked for and discovered could be disclosed. So they want to prevent him from coming out with where it was found.
So those of you that are saying, how can the government intervene? That's what they're saying. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's true. That's all I'm saying.
So Lucy says, how in the world can he be charged for people's idiocracy? What's the name of the Resource Act called?
System Unit Protection Resource Act.
That's how, Lucy. That's how.
Which was enacted in 2016. It was in the middle of the treasure hunt that it was enacted. I don't think it was enacted for Forrest, and I agree with everyone saying that blows my mind. It blows my mind. And last week it was because it's not true. You're such a liar. No, it's because it is true, and that's why it blows my mind. But let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Now, Alan says, so that means Jack would also be responsible for the searcher death after he found the chest in 2019. I don't know about that. Yellowstone is only responsible for Yellowstone, right? Did that guy die in Yellowstone? I have no idea. I don't remember.
No. Sexton, yeah, he was up that way.
He was not. He wasn't even fucking in Wyoming. Pardon my French.
Yeah, that's
he was Sexton? Like in Dinosaur National Monument in Colorado or Utah.
Yeah,
or wherever.
I was thinking that it was Christensen. Can you read Thomas Conrad?
How can Jack be responsible? He hadn't taken it yet. It was still out there for anybody to find.
Right. So I would say no, but I would let the courts. Thomas Conrad.
It's a week or two ago, Capro was saying something about intervening, and now the document has the word intervening. Weird. Well,
yeah, and it's called a motion to intervene.
Up, I guess.
Yeah, and I was a liar, and entire shows were mocking me, and people liar. God.
So I'll just say this.
I have a whole slide on that. But
I know, but I'm going to say my piece right now. So for all the people out there that say K-Pro and or Cynthia, they make stuff up. They just want the clicks. They want views. They want super chat money. They actually know what they're talking about, everybody. So for everybody that doubted them, you can just publicly apologize if you so choose to do that. But all the grief they've heard over the last 2 years since it's been found, I mean, they're not just making stuff up. So all those people can fuck off as far as I'm concerned.
All right.
I don't know.
They just opened up the use for the. So
What's that?
now we can use the fuck word. They're getting
No,
I don't
no,
care.
we are still going to rise above them. We're still rising above them.
All right, hang on. We have
Yes, odious soul.
we have live audio.
Vindication.
Yeah, there it is. Vindication, everybody. That's for Cynthia and for K-Pro. All right. We're going back to it.
Yes. Odious soul. It was found in Yellowstone. It's not breaking news to you or me, but it's officially in the court document. Go ahead, Mike. Keep going. We're reading this thing. Yeah.
Number 11. Or did we on number 10?
I don't
number 10. The United States seeks to intervene in this matter in accordance with Rule 1 because it has an interest in maintaining the public land and resources that relate to the subject matter of this action, the Fenn Treasure. Because the Fenn Treasure was sought and found on public land, and because the United States' interest in protecting public land is not adequately represented by any existing party in this matter, intervention should be permitted. Because remember, guys, the judge has to rule on this. This isn't a clear and done case just because they filed this motion. It's up to the judge in the probate case to accept this motion or not. Is that right? April and Cynthia?
Yes, it is. So it went uncontested. It seems like Harry might contest this now, but it went in uncontested because he didn't want to delay things. But now he may contest it. At any rate, if they both agree, both the plaintiff and the defendant, it basically is like automatic. The judge would say yes. But if either contest it, then the judge really has to look into these rules and orders and this and that. So it sounds like it might be contested with Harry's post this morning, but it's out there. But let's go to the document, though. It's saying because of the resources that are going to have to be used on our public land, we are protecting this, and it's not adequately represented. And then they put in some legal mumbo jumbo. After we get that done, I had a whole different PowerPoint for Monday. We'll have this new PowerPoint and we'll go into the specifics of this. We just wanted to get the information out to you first.
Conspiracy people will say it only proves it's on land managed by Department of Interior, not necessarily Yellowstone. Well, then why did Jack and Forrest meet with, was she the head of Yellowstone in August?
Yes.
Yeah, yes. Why did they meet with the head of Yellowstone, guys? Why wouldn't they have met with a lawyer or somebody else in the government? Why is it the head of Yellowstone? Why do you guys think that is?
Well, and she has a document that you'll see. This is an 8-page document. So let's go into it more. You'll see by the end, it's not just Department of Interior stuck. It's the actual Yellowstone, and they say it's Yellowstone.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then let's keep going. Number 11, the United States anticipates, let me go back to it. Oh, I'm already there. The United States anticipates attending depositions and hearings in this matter for the limited purpose of protecting its interests and or seeking a protective order prohibiting disclosure of specific locations on public lands where persons have searched for the Fenn treasure, as well as the location where it was found and any unsealed record in this matter. Pursuant to Rule 1-007, the undersigned counsel has inquired each party's position and determined that this expedited motion is opposed by counter petitioner Jamie McCracken. The motion is not opposed by the estate of Forrest Burke Fenn, probably because Fenn agreed with Jack to not put it out, right?
They already agreed once in August of 2019.
Pursuant to blah, 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 the United States respectfully requests expedited consideration of this motion. Discovery in this matter is nearing its end on April 29, 2022. Upon information and belief, Mr. Jack Stoof has been subpoenaed to give his deposition on this date, and the United States' interests in protecting public land and resources, as more fully described in this motion, may be jeopardized by this testimony. Respectfully submitted, Assistant U.S. Attorney, Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Now that is interesting. I will say, when you have information, go back up for a second. I thought it was going to be coming from the Wyoming. No, because of the jurisdiction, from what I'm understanding, the assistant U.S. attorney in New Mexico is the one, because the jurisdiction of the court cases. And see, sometimes it's not exactly right until you see it exactly. But overall, yeah. And the words that were used in that last paragraph, protective order. Isn't that amazing? It is a protective order. They're protecting. It's not a person they're protecting. It's the information of where it was found.
Two people can keep a secret if one of them is threatened by the government. How
Yeah.
true that is. I mean, Jack just doesn't want that hassle. Do you think he wants any kind of
No,
problems? Of
he
course
wants
not.
to be done.
Just like
Who-
you guys wouldn't if you found it. It's the same situation. So don't blame Jack for being such a jerk, in my opinion. That we find to kind of see why he's behaved the way he has, in my opinion.
So Holy says, so even if FOIAs are filed, the real location will be sealed, blocked. It will be redacted. So if, let's say that information was actually captured in a Zoom with a transcript, I believe, and I'm not a lawyer, that part would be redacted, just like someone's personal information. It's anything that's protected, and it would be considered protected.
David Paisato says, Forrest did say he hid the solution in Bell's. Who knew it was Kimberly Bell?
Oh, gee. Okay, let's get to the next section of this.
But we're not done.
We're not. And then I have opinions. I have a PowerPoint.
This Declaration of Sarah Davis. And
Who's Sarah Davis? Who's Sarah Davis?
Let's see. I, Sarah Davis, declare the following to be true and correct from personal knowledge as follows. I am the Chief Ranger for Yellowstone National Park, everybody. Let me say it again. I am the Chief Ranger for Yellowstone National Park. My office address is blah, 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 4 Barrack Street. In my capacity as Chief Ranger, I am the senior law enforcement officer overseeing the law enforcement, search and rescue, emergency medical services, 911, and public safety dispatch center, visitor services operations, structural fire, wildland fire, and corrals operation for Yellowstone National Park. Yellowstone National Park is located in Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho, and is approximately 2.2 million acres in size. The park is one of the busiest in the country and experiences over 4 million visitors a year, and manages and preserves its public land in part by providing and maintaining roads, trails, and other areas of public access for visitors to utilize. I am familiar with the facts of subpoena that forms the basis of the litigation filed in the above captioned case, and am providing this declaration in support of the United States motion to intervene. In August of 2020, a Zoom meeting was held with Forrest Fenn, attorney Tom Nasco, and Jack Stoof. At this meeting, Mr. Stoof provided detailed, specific information regarding the location where he found the Forrest Fenn treasure box on or about June 6, 2020. Forrest Fenn then confirmed the location is the same location where he left the Fenn treasure. Using Google Earth, I was able to locate and match the area described by both Stoof and Fenn. The following week, I, along with the Deputy Chief Ranger, went to the area described by both Stoof and Fenn. Would the Chief Ranger of Yellowstone have gone to where the treasure was location, where the treasure was found, where the treasure was, where Mr. Fenn hid it, if it wasn't inside Yellowstone National Park? What do you guys think?
No. And the only way that they can represent in this case is if it's a matter under their jurisdiction. Their jurisdiction is Yellowstone.
Is Yellowstone National Park. Now, none of this proves 9 Mile Hole, I guess you could say, but it definitely proves it was inside Yellowstone National Park. And
Correct.
for everybody that said you two were crazy, you guys know what you can do. Now, sorry about that.
Liar. The big thing is liars. I don't have a problem. Like, we went out to GPS and I genuinely thought it. We put confirmed. It made people upset. I understood that. People said, though, that I'll just say me. I was lying about GPS. No, I believe Turd, and Turd told some things and it ended up not being the case. But in this case, that there was a motion to intervene, I don't have a problem. When Jeremy went up on Thor, because we were talking about this, and he's like, no, you just jumped the gun. I just don't believe it's coming. And that's okay. But when you say liar, that means there's intent. And I'd say, why lying? I put this up last night. Why do you think we're lying? I can see mistaken, but lying means their intent, because you want super money and super clicks, and you want attention, and you want this and you want that. In my opinion, that's the people that are too far. I don't mind if you say, you and Cynthia got it wrong with GPS and Mike got it wrong. You trusted a Turd. You trust anybody. You're naive. You get duped. No problem. When you say we're a liar, that is when, and like, what was the name of the channel that comes after us? Biggest Lies in the Chase. And it was all about how we're lying. Eat your humble pie. Here it is, sweet cheeks.
Like I said, you can publicly apologize at any time if you want to. I really don't care what you do.
That would mean they have an ounce of honor and respect.
And I'll just say this, I've been emailing back and forth with Troy Barlow. You guys remember Troy Barlow? And his point was Forrest can't have hidden it in Yellowstone because that would be illegal. Well, guess what? And that's a valid point. Troy wasn't calling anybody names. Troy wasn't calling anybody liars. He just said it's illegal to put it in a national park. He can't do that. Well, he did. And you know why? Because when Forrest says there's usually you have to stay on established trails, and I go off the trail, Forrest is saying I do what I want to do.
Yeah.
He didn't
But
care that it was illegal.
right. And we're not going to focus on the negative today.
There's
Today
a way
is just
to
a great
disagree
thing.
that's civil, and there's a lot of people out there that haven't been civil. That's all
Right.
I'll say. The other thing is, David,
Yeah.
how did Forrest confirm this after September 7th? Well, he didn't, David. If you're paying attention, it was June 6th. Oh, no. If you're paying attention,
August.
it was August. Yeah, August. He did
Yeah.
the Zoom in August, the month before he died, okay?
Well, and let's make it clear. This nowhere in here does it say we need to protect 9 Mile Hole because it was at 9 Mile Hole. They're protecting that. They're saying it's in the park, and I've summarized in a PowerPoint on where there's no established trails, where there's no infrastructure, where there's increase of visitors would be an issue, etc. So all this does for all of you that said and really gave a hard time for anyone that thought it was in the park. I agree with you that it's crazy that it's in the park. But it's in the park, and let's go through the rest of the document, and then we'll go back and we'll have a good banter, but let's keep going.
Lily says, Jack's first text to AGK was about protecting the spot. Wonder when he first reached out to Yellowstone National Park. Do you think the lawyers, and this is speculation. This is pure speculation, guys. Sorry. But who do you think reached out first? When the treasure was found, do you think the lawyer said we should probably reach out and have a meeting with Yellowstone, a Zoom? Or do you think it was Yellowstone saying, if you found it here, we need to talk? I mean, I just wonder how that went down. We're never going to know, probably, but I just wonder who reached out to who.
I would guess Yellowstone, because you don't reach out to give yourself legal issues. My guess, total guess, would be Yellowstone based on this was in August.
You think
that's my guess.
Do you think Yellowstone?
I think it's the opposite. The lawyers knew that in order to Jack move forward and sell that chest and make it all legal, they had to reach out to Yellowstone and get the proper legal paperwork settled before.
In the beginning, maybe Jack wanted to put it out. Maybe he's like, yeah, let's tell everybody. And maybe Forrest's lawyer or some lawyer said, hey, wait a minute. We need to talk about this with Yellowstone first, right? Maybe. Okay.
Right. But that's all conjecture. Let's get back to factual information. So good.
The only law Forrest ever broke was when he hijacked the plane.
I love you, Alan. And Alan's one. He was in Yellowstone. He's gotten a really hard time of how could it ever be and all of that. Well, this at least puts that for the sane people. And like McCracken is saying, it's because the government's now his trial is corrupt because they're trying to cover up that Forrest is alive and this is a fake document. This is a real document. You can still believe it's not in Yellowstone, but this for 93% of us is the baby's to bed.
This is it. Jack and Forrest are not going to lie because they knew it's going to be a court case. They're not going to lie. They're not going to lie about this, guys. Okay. So the park is the superintendent. What's her title? The park
director of resource and visitor protection.
The director of Yellowstone National Park and the deputy chief ranger went to the area described by both Stoof and Fenn. Number 5. The location described as the area where the Fenn treasure was found is public land owned by the United States government and managed by the Department of the Interior. The Department of the Interior, if the Department of the Interior is concerned that if specific information regarding the location was divulged, it would result in a significant increase in visitation to this area by persons still looking for the treasure site or otherwise seeking to visit the site for other reasons related to the Fenn treasure. What do you guys think about that? How many, if let's say Jack came out that it was 9 Mile Hole, how many people realistically do you think would go there, Cynthia? I would like to go this summer, but I mean, are we going to have thousands of people showing up, or what do you think?
No, I don't think there will be that many that actually wade across the Madison. And if I have some ideas of how I want to move forward after this, and I want to definitely meet with Zoe and Carl. But one of the things is, I really think it's extreme for them to think that 2,000 searchers are going to wade across the Madison.
Yeah.
But I don't see any harm in 2,000 searchers parking at 9 Mile Hole, walking to Fenn Rock, and looking just across the woods. What is the harm in that? I see nothing. So,
I say the opposite.
I have to leave for a second because Chief Ranger Sarah Davis is on the phone with me. I'll be right back.
Oh, Chief
okay.
Ranger. That's
so here's the opposite.
Correct title. Go ahead.
And so here's the opposite, in my opinion. If you see if you've ever FOIA'd Yellowstone, and I think it's up on Thor, there are hundreds of pages of, they call out some searchers by name that have destroyed the park, have done damage to the park, dug up graves, had to be saved after not having enough rope and rappelling. I don't think it's the number that they're concerned about. There's going to be 10,000 people that go there. There's a little bit of that. I think their bigger concern is they know that we are, some of our community are extremists. And there was a website about how when the site comes out, we are going to put it up in flames. So I think because of the extreme behavior that they've already seen, because of that, that is enough right now for them to say, don't put it out. It seems counterintuitive to me that someplace that has 4 million visitors is going to worry about 1,000 searchers going there. It's not the 1,000. It's the 50 that are going to do what they have already done for 10 years.
Yeah, Tacoma Kick says, I feel like if there's no treasure to be found, therefore I highly doubt there will be many even who make the trip to 9 Mile. That's a good question.
But a lot of people think that's where the Emerald Ring is. I mean, people were talking about getting on their beach cruisers and heading out in negative weather. I mean, there's just people that aren't, again, it's not the large number. It's the few number, but the fewer numbers are the ones that are going to make issues.
Sea Star said, so if people flock to the Madison, wouldn't that make you and Cynthia responsible? Not me,
No.
just you and Cynthia.
No, we're talking about things that are in a court document. We have used due care. Due care says if it's in a court document, Jack can't do it. It's not Jack's fault. It's not our fault. Now, like Cynthia had already talked about, if she gets to the log first and drops a GPS and shows the 2 logs, could she be held responsible? Maybe.
Would the park actually follow through with it and fine anybody or charge anybody? I don't know. I mean, they threatened to do it. I just wonder if they would follow.
After this, anything's possible. This is the weirdest ending to the weirdest ending. So,
but all I can say is
Vindication.
There you go. All right, let's go back to it. Public land, it would result in significant increase in visitation to this area by persons still looking for the treasure site or otherwise seeking to visit the site for other reasons. And I'll just say this, let's be very clear. It's not illegal to cross the Madison right there. The fishermen do it all the time, right?
Right.
Okay. Number 6, the area where the Fenn treasure was found does not have any trails or infrastructure to support any increase in visitation to the area. Resource damage, such as the creation of social trails, informal trails resulting from erosion due to foot traffic, littering, and improper disposal of waste are a few of the expected consequences of increased visitation. The area also contains water sites that are home to native fish species that could be threatened or damaged by an increase in visitors. Why would the fish be altered? Just if a lot of people are crossing the river, do they think they'll scare them away or something?
Yeah. So all summer when Jens and Rudy and I and some other people, I mean, I waded across that river at least one round trip a day, almost throughout all of summer, as did many others. And what happened was the people that were actually fishing there at 9 Mile, actually in the hole, they actually got really pissed off at us. And I actually had people to tell me to get the hell out of the water, get back into the trees as I walked from where we crossed, like to the dry creek or the wet creek. And I mean, the fishermen got really mean, some of them. And so I did feel a little bit bad for them because we really did disrupt their fishing. And not all people are like me, where I went away to cross below the Homer Brown where it's really shallow. People that are tall like Justin and Rudy, they can wade across anywhere they want to wade. So yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true about searchers. If they go into the fishing hole area, I do think that they can ruin that where the lava edge is. And I really do believe that they could ruin it or affect it.
Well, and for me, this is my opinion. I don't think I mean, that gives more context. They're worried as much about the fish species, but they're going to put everything in for the judge to consider. So even if it's this much about the fish and more about infrastructure and porta potties and parking and all that, they're just going to throw everything in that's possible just to really show that there's an effect there. But it helps us. That's the piece that's informational to us because we know now fish are there. They didn't say 9 Mile Hole, but we're going to talk about how this really does talk about 9 Mile Hole. Cynthia is awesome. Cynthia is awesome.
All right, we're almost done with it. Number 7. Since the publishing of decedent Forrest Fenn's poem, The Thrill of the Chase, in which he revealed a hidden treasure with clues to its location, treasure seekers have been charged with crimes including stalking, damage and destruction of natural resources, reckless and disorderly conduct, and entering closed areas. I mean, yeah, look at all the problems the Yellowstone has had over the last 10 years. That's true. Since the death of Forrest Burke Fenn and the announcement of the finding of the Fenn treasure, treasure seekers have continued to visit various sites on public land in search of imagined unclaimed treasure, or to visit the site where they believe the Fenn treasure to have been found. If additional information about the specific site of where the Fenn treasure was found is publicly disclosed, the government reasonably anticipates a surge in visitors to areas on public land not intended or equipped to receive significant numbers of people. I declare under penalty of perjury, blah, blah, blah. Executed the 22nd of April. That's Friday, guys. This was actually sent on Friday. Sarah Davis, Chief Ranger. That's the title I was looking for. Chief Ranger of Yellowstone National Park. And that is breaking news, everybody. Chief Ranger of Yellowstone National Park has submitted a motion to say, Jack, do not allow to the judge, submitted a motion to the judge to say, in this case, do not allow anyone, Jack or anyone else, to reveal the exact location. Why would it come from the Chief Ranger of Yellowstone National Park if it wasn't located in Yellowstone National Park, everybody? How do they know? Because Forrest and Jack in Yellowstone National Park had a Zoom 2 months after it was found, 1 month before Forrest died, to go over this very question. And I'm sure at that time, in my opinion, they all agreed to not disclose the location. So, Jack, I apologize for all the grief we gave you over the last 2 years or whatever it is.
Well, I'll get there.
I'll
get there. Okay, can you do me a favor and bring up a PowerPoint?
Mm-hmm. But wait, there's more. We got the PowerPoint.
Well, I want to summarize what I'm reading and see you two see things from different vantage points and information. So if you will bring that up, I want to so some of you aren't going to want to read over the 8 pages. So I made a quick summary page and it kind of gives a synopsis of, bring it up, honey.
Oh, I'm looking at it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, can bring it up. Okay, next slide.
It's just too bad I was banned from Reddit, so they can't get all this information. But oh well. Summary. Okay, here we go.
Okay, so it does say, so here is my summary of this document. Department of Interior, it says, but Yellowstone is the one that submitted, the Chief Ranger of Yellowstone. So, and they intervened based on Jack's deposition to all parties. Everyone in the case is going to be under a gag order, if you will, if this gets granted. So it's a protective order. The meeting in August of 2020, both Jack and Forrest attended with Yellowstone officials, it says, because Sarah said she was there. Jack outlined where he found it. Forrest outlined where he hid it. So this is confirmation of both sides. This is important because I think if it would have said, Jack told us where he found it, oh, Forrest never confirmed. So I think it was really masterful that both sides were asked to discuss. These areas matched. They used Google Earth to confirm the location, which I just think is funny. The area does not have trails, infrastructure, resources to support an increased population and visiting if disclosed. The area could be damaged, litters, people could create their own trails, and it could damage fish species. Chasers have damaged both before and after, stalking, damaging, reckless, and injury. And it would make a surge in visitors, which is this area is not equipped for. So this is my 8-page summary into 1 page because I really like to synthesize things. These are the salient points of those 8 pages. I should have put Sarah, Sarah's exact name, but it doesn't matter. The Chief Ranger.
And David Paisano points out, rightfully so, that the Chief Ranger of Yellowstone National Park has had knowledge of the location since August of 2020. That's true. And the Deputy Ranger, and I wonder who else they've talked to. But yeah, they've known the location.
So Vertigo, perfect timing, spiraling into the chat. Here is the synopsis of what we've been talking about.
Go ahead.
Are there any points, one, that we want to talk about within this, but is there any points that I missed that maybe are important points? Because we're going to be sifting over this 8-page document for a while. What do you think, Cynthia? And then Mike.
No, I think they captured it to a T, and your PowerPoint synopsis is perfect. No, I just am ecstatic that they finally announced this.
And now, does everybody understand why Jack wrote the letter to Forrest saying, "This is your property. If you want me to return it, I will." Do you understand? You're in Yellowstone National Park, and you're going, if I grab this and it's in my car and I'm stopped by a ranger, you know, all the things that would go through your head. It's kind of like panic mode, right? So I think that he thought the most prudent thing to do to cover himself is just to return lost property. I think in Jack's mind and legally, that's all he was doing. I contacted Forrest. He said, "Oh yeah, that's mine. Bring it back to me." And then Jack was like, "If you want to give it to me, you give it to me, but that's up to you."
I think Forrest didn't anticipate that, and that made some other legal issues personally. Right. Okay, bring it back up because we have a lot of new people in the chat. So let me just say, there is a motion to intervene that we've been discussing for a while that we've been told that we're liars. Well, we just went over. So if you want to take the first 50 minutes, we just went over in, Mike actually read the entire 8 pages. It is an affidavit from Yellowstone Park that they met with Forrest and Jack. And
in August of 2020.
In August of 2020. And then the salient points, bring up the PowerPoint again, please.
All right.
These are the points that were raised, my summary, my words of that document. So if you go over these pieces, this is the one pager that if you say, like all the auction side, I got down to 1 page. This is the 1 page points of this situation that we're in. So those of you that thought there's no way the government's going to intervene, yes, they are. The motion to intervene is in with the judge.
And not just the government, the chief ranger of Yellowstone National Park, everybody.
Right.
So
right.
that doesn't tell you something. Maybe you're not listening.
Yeah. The only change or part that I was a little wrong by is it's the Attorney General or the Assistant Attorney General of New Mexico, because that's where the jurisdiction is. So these are the points. So
New Mexico.
Anyone to say that it's not Yellowstone, it doesn't seem to align with reality. If the head of Yellowstone, the head ranger, has said, I met with Forrest and Jack via Zoom, and they told me the location, and I went out to it with my deputy, that tells you that it was in Yellowstone. The meeting was in August. That's informational. If they would have waited a month, that I don't know why. I wonder why August and not July or, whatever.
I bet the lawyers needed to get some things together first, would be my guess. My guess. That's all.
Yep. So, and then this is the 1 page summary. So I think, okay, now, and many of you have said this in chat, and I agree with you. This does not say 9 Mile Hole. It does say it is not an area that has trails. Correct, with 9 Mile Hole. It doesn't have the infrastructure to support an increased population. I believe that points to 9 Mile Hole. It does not have the resources to support more visitors, and it could be damaged. There could be more litter. People will create their own trails, and it could damage fish species. I love the fish species one because that does take it to a particular area. Like DeLacy is out. Those of you that are still, Mike, if you're holding on to hope at any point of GPS, this kills GPS. There is no fishing at Turd Source Place.
Yeah, that's true. It kills DeLacy Creek, doesn't it?
Hit the breaking news button. Turd is a flat out liar or insane.
I just hit the wrong button. There we go. Hit that button. Or he was duped. But anyway, or the GPS points to a different location. But anyway, that's a different show. And I'm sure we'll do shows on this coming up. Meaning with this, in light of this new information, where in Yellowstone Park was it found? But I think most people are not going to be able to get their head around that Forrest Fenn hid his treasure in Yellowstone National Park.
Okay,
Cynthia,
I want to note something.
Go ahead.
Our chat room right now is debating whether there's an emerald ring at the spot or not. I think that pretty much tells you why Yellowstone is doing what they're doing.
There you go. That's why
you guys you're missing the point. I love you, Sam. I love you, Rudy. I love all of you guys. You're sitting here and debating with this big news whether the emerald ring is there. I think that is why Yellowstone, and I'm crazy and obsessed right with you guys. That is why we're at the point we're at of Yellowstone saying, I know people are going to go out not equipped. I mean, Cynthia, if you guys saw, Cynthia was in -degree weather, but she was equipped. She's a mountain person. She's a super athlete. They're not concerned about the Cynthias. They are concerned about the K-pros, getting on my beach cruiser and heading out and not being equipped and getting into some trouble.
So Okie Chest Chaser says, great, we know the location. What I really want to know is the correct answer to the 9 clues. Do you think Jack and/or Forrest went over the 9 clues, or Yellowstone just needed to know the location? Do you think Jack had to explain this is how I found her. They're just like, where did you find it? Just give us the spot. That's all we're worried about. I mean, this is speculation on our part, but what do you think?
I have a strong opinion, so I'm going to let Cynthia go first.
I don't know the answer. Basically, right. You're asking me, do I think whether or not Jack and Forrest told Sarah Davis the solution? I don't know.
Right.
And I'm going to say yes. And the reason that I think, and it's totally a guess. And the reason I'm going to say yes is go back to the court document, go to Sarah's chief rangers of Yellowstone's statement. So go down to maybe page 5. Because doesn't she say, stop for a second.
The location described as the area where the Fenn treasure was found is public land owned by the U.S. government.
No, when she said she met with Forrest and met with in August of 2020.
Yeah, in August of 2020, a Zoom meeting was held with Forrest Fenn, attorney Tom Nasco, and Jack Stoof. At this meeting, Mr. Stoof provided detailed, specific information regarding the location where he found the Forrest Fenn treasure box.
Okay, so I was thinking it like how he found it. No, I don't know. I don't know. Yes, Tom Walker's in the house, and he says exactly. I don't know what he's saying exactly too, but he thinks I'm right, so I am right because Tom says so. I think it's about they equipped. They were equipped.
Yeah. And I would just say now we know it was inside Yellowstone National Park. We can backward engineer the clues, or we could try to, which is fun. Where did Warm Waters halt? Madison Junction probably is a more likely candidate at this point that we know it was found inside Yellowstone National Park, in my opinion. What are the other where Warm Waters halt candidates that are in the park? You know, things like that. But
so I'm going to be a little bit of, I don't know, put your adjective in there right now. This does nothing for me. I already believe 9 Mile Hole. I have a lot of reason for that. No, this is informational because it validates to the community that I'm not a liar and I've made it all up. Did I know Yellowstone before? I put on one of my myth charts a year ago that Forrest and Jack met with Yellowstone. Oh, we said it was a myth or a rumor, but for God's sake. And we said 2 weeks ago that this motion to intervene, now that it's actually in the document, I think it helped. And I'm not going to like be bad to the chat because I would want to see it directly too. Because I also said GPS at a time when I trust a turd rather than good people. So today does nothing for me except Vindication.
Can I go backwards and address the GPS, which and turd? So what people fail to understand, and this even applies to the New York documentary that just came out with me in it. What they don't understand, Christy, is this has been almost 2 years in getting to this point. And when Turd gave you the GPS, when he duped us into believing the GPS, we knew nothing at that time. Right. I mean, we didn't even know Jack Stoof's name at that time. So all we knew was the Finder Medium article and what Shiloh had written to you, that most of that Medium article was correct. And I remember you and I, as we were driving up to Yellowstone to meet Justin to go to the GPS Nook, you and I sat there and we went through that Medium article word by word, trying to understand what Shiloh meant when he said most of it was right, meaning there's got to be something that isn't. Okay, now that was what? Was that October 2020 when we went? I think it was. Obviously, Forrest had already died because the Finder's article was out. So anyway, this information has taken so much time to get through. I mean, this has been like pulling teeth for the last year. and basically, I'm going to credit Shannon with getting the ball rolling. What was that? March, April of 2020, when she came out with the email from Jack when he had just come back from one of his early boots on the ground, which was the Madison River. So this has just taken so much time. And little by little, we have learned more and more. Christy, you did an awesome show with your video of when you went over there in September to the island. I did a what I considered a really good recap video of the whole 2021 year and how this all came to be, how we all pieced this together. And I want to give one more person credit to the solution. I mean, not specifically to what you have today, but the whole 2021 thing started with Shannon, and then it went to Rudy Green and that fucking Jack Oiltree. And if it wasn't for that, that was what solidified 9 Mile Hole right then. And then the people that came out and found out that Jack was Condor 2 on Reddit, everyone who took their time to create the database of all of Jack's Reddit comments. He left us a trail of breadcrumbs to take us almost right to the exact location. So, it wasn't just one person that made this all possible. There were more than just me, more than just K-Pro, Shannon, and Rudy. But I for sure wanted to give them some credit for getting us to this point. And definitely for what you and I knew last year. There was some other stuff, but for confirmation. But anyway, they really gave us a lot of help.
And I think, I bring it up last time, it's a couple of key pieces of information that brings it together. Then when you throw a turd in there that showed us some pictures and showed us some things that I really believed at the time, and I did not trust, or I trusted before I realized who I was dealing with. We're talking about a human that started a company and in our name, and now has told people they're going to flicker their lights and threaten them and all of that. The biggest thing that I've learned through this last 2 years is not to trust everyone and try to verify. And Rudy has done that for me probably more than anyone. I think if I would have given him GPS before we left, we would have never gone to GPS because he's so analytical or logical or whatever the right word is. But there is a couple of key, after the last 2 years, we've done a show every single week. And there was times that there would be little leads, but probably 3 or 4 huge pieces of information. The oil tree definitely was one of them. Shannon's piece was one of them. Condor database, whoever, Rimsbrock, Rudy, phenomenal job. That was huge. And the court documents, it's so sad. That's becoming what is going to give us, we don't have closure of the exact spot in the 9 clues yet, but today we have a huge piece that we did not have before. This confirms in my mind 100%. And I guess nothing's 100%. Somebody just said, no, Jack and Forrest are in with the government now. If you, like Jamie, believe that Yellowstone somehow is conspiring and lying about all of this, and they just put in the motion to intervene, that's okay. But I'm not one of those people that think the government and the chief ranger, I think the chief ranger probably doesn't even, I don't think she had a personal relationship. There was 2 chief rangers over the 10 years. Her being involved at that level, I just don't believe it. Okay.
So I'll just read this, just for those who are still can't believe it was in Yellowstone. I'll just read this, which was 6 questions with Jenny with Forrest. Generally speaking, there are places where one should stay on established trails. Yellowstone is one. However, it reminds me of the worn-out axiom: if you ain't the lead dog, the scenery never changes. When I am in the mountains or in the desert, the last place I want to be is on a trail. Ain't no adventure in that for me. There isn't a human trail in very close proximity to where I hid the treasure. And to me, that was Forrest saying, yeah, I wasn't supposed to do it, but I did it anyway in Yellowstone. He went off the trail where you're technically not supposed to go. He hid it in a park where he wasn't supposed to hide it.
Yeah.
That's just
actually, you can. Dale's the one that pointed out to me years ago that you're allowed to leave the trails in Yellowstone. There's absolutely nothing illegal about hiking off trail unless it is marked not to. And obviously the boardwalks and all the thermal areas is almost always there's signs, do not enter. But if it doesn't say do not enter, you can go wherever you want to go.
Well, there's a couple comments from chat. Goldilocks says this isn't about vindicating Sauls or giving credit to anyone. It's bigger than you guys getting credit. Thanks to McCracken for posting this document, if valid. It's about being lied to for 2 years. Goldilocks, it is about vindication because you haven't been on the firing squad like I have been, where people come to your homes, people do shows on you every single week and make fun of you. They're probably on right now. There is a personal nature, and I'm not saying give credit to us. I'm saying stop making it personal and saying that we're lying. We didn't lie for 2 years. We're going through the journey like everyone else, and we are exposing ourselves to what. Okay, let's see. How many times can I bounce this guy? Go away. Ben, Sorry, Ben, you steal my shit. Get the hell out of my everywhere I belong. Stay away from me. Okay,
there you go, Ben. There you go. So you do what you want to do, but you're not going to do it here.
Just
So
leave me alone. You and Candy and Mindy can go on Discord and be BFFs. Leave me alone. Okay, so all I'm saying in general is there is a personal nature to this. I didn't make it that way. I didn't go that way. It's just what's happened, and that's unfortunate. But I do have to say, I wish I didn't feel a little bit of vindication. I wish I could just put it behind me. But if you had videos done about you and your marriage, or you and your kids, or you being a mom, or where you work, how many searchers have contacted you, Goldilocks, at work and contacted your boss? So no, today is a big day for me because I don't get any more information than anyone else out of this. I already believed it was Yellowstone, but the people that have made it so vicious and terrible, for me, this has been a good day. Okay. X marks the spot. You'll have a different story in 2 weeks. If the information and what I'm learning to take away, if something comes out in 2 weeks that absolutely proves that Forrest is alive and the government was conspiring with Forrest and whatever X marks the spot or Jamie's position is, sure, I'll look at it. Right now, I don't think so. Go ahead.
No, I think you summed it up. There's people that have gone personal with you, and they shouldn't have. If you want to have a civil discussion about your opinion on the chase, do that. But when you're accused of, oh, you only do it for the chat, you only do it for super chat, you're only in it for money, that's the problem. Don't worry about what we do on our channel. Go on your own channel and leave us alone.
Right. Like, so I just had this discussion with one of my kids, and since we know some of the people are parents, and I hope good parents, my kid said, this person did a TikTok on me and I'm so upset.
Stop it.
And they said, why can't we just get along? And I don't want to be friends with them because I used to be friends with them and I don't want to be friends with them anywhere. Why are they doing not shows? Why are they doing TikToks about me? And this is what I said to him. I'm 45 years old, 46 actually. I'm 46 years old. And I have people doing shows on me that used to be friends. And I showed the last video where they're like wearing costumes and making fun of me. And I said, it's never going to stop. People don't leave people alone. These are what's called bullies. When we decide to go separate ways, I don't go to YouTube and say, this is so exciting. I am going to make fun of them and what they say and how their PowerPoint is and all of that. I just leave them alone. So my 15-year-old, I said, I'm sorry. Some people never get past 15. So they will do their videos. They will make it personal forever. And you need to learn how to manage it, which is typically don't say anything, keep vile people out of your life. But they have social media now, and that makes them important. So they go on for hours and hours and hours. And, the Ben and Candies, and they can do that. I just don't need to be a part of it. Okay, enough on the negative. Let's get back.
So here's one. Here's a good one. It says, here's the deal. If Yellowstone National Park were the place, all the map, poem information will work and be consistent. I know that it can't, but I have to be open to the possibility of Yellowstone National Park. Well, it's good that you're open to the possibility, but I want to ask Cynthia, who's probably searched more than anybody, with 9 Mile Hole being the location, that's where we think it is. What do you think of Forrest Fenn's poem and the 9 clues? Do you think you would have been able to find it? You know what I mean? Do you think just the poem and the clues could have led you to 9 Mile Hole?
Oh yeah, in hindsight, of course. I mean, I already did a blog article where Warm Waters actually was the Firehole River. It halted. I mean, and how often did Fenn tell stories, or at least once he did the story in Too Far to Walk about Ojo Caliente. Mm-hmm. There are, anybody who really knows Yellowstone and the Firehole knows, and I think it's actually, I think it is stated that it is the warmest of all the rivers in Yellowstone. So, I mean, yes, you can take the poem now, and in hindsight, yes, you can totally make it fit. Had I ever gotten it? No, I will be honest. Yeah, I mean, I definitely searched the Madison Junction area, but no, I never ever searched 9 Mile Hole. But yeah, when you, in hindsight, follow Reddit, follow Jack's emails, blah blah blah. You can, yeah. I mean,
like and Jack, that Jack was bounced out of Reddit.
No, I didn't.
Anyway. When they told me they did that, I just like, why would you do that? Why would you bounce the man?
So that's the best statement from Forrest is when he wrote years ago, after it's found and announced, everyone's going to say, why didn't I think of that? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Right. How many, there's got to be tens of thousands of us saying, why didn't I think of that?
Well, and
that's
Cynthia,
totally-
this is where I think you and I differ a little bit, because I think it was misleading for Forrest to say you can retrieve it in any weather and a kid could get there with a little help, etc. It's not in a dangerous place. I know you've gone back and forth over there. First time I peed my pants. I was so nervous, and I did get better at it. I think I've waded over maybe 5 or 10 times, and I know you have now maybe 100, or whatever that number is. I didn't mean the exact number, but I don't think that depicts for an average flatlander a safe spot you could get in any weather. That's my opinion. And so that was the reason I never searched at 9 Mile. I had Madison Junction, and you were there when Forrest said to me, remember when he said, what's your WWWH? And I said, Madison Junction. He said, you and 100,000 other people. 100,000 of us had Madison Junction, but 9 Mile Hole waiting over. Now, if it was on the other side, I'd be all about it, but it was on you have to wait over. And Jack confirmed that, I think, at Condor. I would have never gotten it. I feel better now, even if I was 5 miles away from it. Or 4.2 miles away from it. I was 4.2 miles away from it. I would have never waited over or thought Forrest meant for us to wait over.
But
Right.
Why not? He has a line in the poem that says, "From there is no place for the meet." Jack even addressed this. I can't remember if it was on Reddit, or I think it was actually when he started answering questions from searchers, where he said he knew it was going to be difficult.
I know.
Somewhat to get to it, because that line in the poem tells you so.
I know,
So,
but still, I know,
hindsight,
but
man.
still.
So for me, when Forrest came out with the umbilically attached statement, that's when I thought, oh, I don't think it's in New Mexico anymore. I think it's in Yellowstone. I should find the vlog where I said it back then. But I never would have been able to come up with 9 Mile Hole from the 9 clues.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. I don't think Forrest was the master poem maker, puzzle maker that everybody thought he was. I think it's awesome what he did. He just said, I'm going to put this out here where I want to put it. I don't care about the laws. He talked to a lawyer or whatever, but it would have been very hard. Even if it came out, it was in Yellowstone, I think it would have been very hard for people to actually find it with the poem. But
I'll give my example. When I did the Utah hunt with the kids, it ended up being in some hard terrain, and you had to hike about 3 miles out and 3 miles back in some pretty tough terrain for me. I won't participate again in one of those hunts, because that's what they say, that's their parameters. If Forrest was doing another hunt, well, if it was a nice, I don't know, I would just understand more. I had a different vantage point, and Toby brought up the perfect example. He said, but he didn't say that before TTOTC was out. He was trying to get more people, full page color, into the hunt, so he wanted to make it a family thing. And I guess I understand that. Yeah, and I know I went off on a little tangent, guys. Let's get back on this is a good day for everyone, no matter who you are, all the channels and everyone should be looking at this document. And Goldilocks brings up a good point. It is not officially in the system until Monday. So until we have the court stamped one, that will be available Monday into the court documents. And once the court documents actually reflect exactly this, then we will be able to say, right now, it is McCracken saying this was the email, etc. We have our summaries and things. It will be stamped in the court document as of Monday morning.
the biggest thing is, what if the judge denies the motion? Wouldn't that be? I don't think he will, but he has that option, right? And Apollo just had a good point. He said Forrest wasn't worried about the area being hurt about the ground. He was worried about the fish. I could see Forrest being a fisherman, being like, yeah, I don't want a bunch of people going across the Madison right there. For the people, he probably knew that. Well, when he was a kid, he knew the fishermen that fished there. But anyway, yeah, it's an interesting point. I just saw your next slide on the PowerPoint, K-Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. I have one more PowerPoint.
He's sleeping in all the time. It was in Yellowstone, Sassy. That's the news.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll just play this for the next slide.
Vindication.
And I'll let K-Pro talk about this slide right here.
Well, so yesterday I actually went over last week's show where we were talking about the motion to intervene. And not to call you guys out, but I'm going to call you guys out. I mean, we had people not say, I don't really believe this. They said stupid. So Milan, I hope you now are redirecting the stupidness to Yellowstone, not us. I wish Cynthia wasn't a liar. Okay. Cynthia wasn't lying. And you guys can read this on your gross. And some people said it very respectfully, and I'm not against the people. But when you say lies, liar, nonsense, stupid, yeah. So I'm not going to we already focused on this too much. I'm just saying that I'm okay with you guys saying respectfully, it's not in the system yet. You jumped at, that's all fine. But liars, lies, biggest snake in the chase, I think is, and then getting even more personal in all of this. Yeah. No, my God, no, Backer Jack.
Yeah, it does. Of course it does. And again, remember everybody, we're going live Monday night, our normal show, to talk about it. So
yeah,
I will say this, we've got a little phone number. If you guys want to call and leave a voicemail on what you think of this new news of it being in Yellowstone, that Jack and Forrest met with Yellowstone National Park 2 months after the find and told them the location, leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on the air. Anybody wants to publicly apologize, that's up to you. But again, guys, you can disagree with us. Everybody can have their own opinion and disagree. It's just be civil about it. I mean, I've got my own thoughts about a lot of the other YouTube shows, but you don't hear me talking about disparaging them or calling them names or saying how horrible their shows are. Even though I really think that, I don't come on here and talk about them. So
yeah,
what are you talking about us for, I guess is the question. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, Ryder, we know it's so drama. I know. All right.
And you know what? There are moments that it affects me more than others. I had to get off Discord because I was getting attacked so much, and they picked a path. And I know so we shouldn't even talk to it, but it does today. It is not just a week ago. People were saying flat out liar. No. There it is. There you are. And then you can go and pay the 35 cents per page. And you can get the actual, still the same 8 pages. So it's going to cost you $2.50 to get what we just outlined for you. And that's okay. And again, I screw up at times. I just don't flat out liar. So that's all.
No, they're saying that you and Cynthia intentionally lie to people, intentionally.
We intentionally lied that there's a motion to intervene by Yellowstone because we make stuff up for the $4. I don't know about your job. My job pays more than $4 an hour. Oh my God. How do you make him go away? Fucking stalker, block user. How many times can I block how many different accounts? Stay away. You don't get a right to come at me in my own house. Get away from me, stalker. There you go. Sorry.
I like these early morning ones because we're allowed to use the fuck word.
That's true.
Versus your evening shows.
I did it. That's true. All right, here's the last slide. And why is Yellowstone okay to say Yellowstone? Doesn't that give away the location of the treasure chest?
Yeah, so somebody said on one of the, I don't remember where, they said, but wait, if they say Yellowstone, doesn't the Supra apply? So I believe no, and here's why. So no, the people, Yellowstone is 2.2 million acres. I took this off of Wikipedia, and Wikipedia is always right? So all this has done is narrowed down for a fact, narrowed it down to Yellowstone. So we are in a 2.2 million acre area. That is all that has happened. Now, they have put some things about infrastructure. It doesn't have infrastructure. It doesn't have trails. It doesn't have this. It doesn't have that. Those are the things now that we can have some opinions on. This does not confirm 9 Mile Hole. This, in my opinion, confirms Yellowstone. Right, Cynthia?
Yes, today's document only confirms Yellowstone. 100%. But there's other stuff that can, but if the most hopeful thing that can happen is all the stuff that's in the McCracken lawsuit will become public info, and that is Jack's emails to Forrest Fenn, and there's dozens and dozens and dozens, and that will be the compelling evidence that we see, in my opinion.
Right. And I agree with McCracken because he is set up on his site. Nothing says it was at 9 Mile Hole, but I think he has some emails that he doesn't even understand what he has. Right or wrong, I'm not knocking you, McCracken, because I know you are tunnel vision that Forrest is alive and it was found in New Mexico. I believe you have references. I believe you have pictures. Just like the Condor database said some things like Jack never said in the Condor database, I found it at 9 Mile Hole. He did say Madison. He did say oil tree and put a picture, and Rudy went out there and found the oil tree. This tells you the type of things we can put together. It's still never, I don't think it'll ever be 100%, but it's sure those emails, I believe, will, if we had access to them as a whole group, Rudy would find something, Cynthia would find something, we would all
Christy,
find something.
I'm assuming that you have not seen all those emails. You just assume you're going by what McCracken says, and I'm calling McCracken a liar.
I think, I think the court, okay, this is what I think. The court documents say that he got all of Forrest emails. And I don't believe he's a liar. I actually believe he is not psychologically well enough to be a liar. I believe he believes what he says because he seems just a little off. So in my opinion, I believe that he has, it shows in the court documents, he has all the emails between Forrest and Jack. We know, what do we know about Jack? We know that he liked to talk. He sat on Condor's database, constantly posted. I would bet that he emailed Forrest a lot. I believe there's not 2 or 3 emails. I believe there's more. I'm guessing. I've not seen them all. I've seen the ones that Jamie has put up. I've seen no emails. But when he says, yeah, he said he was searching in a national park in 2019, and there was a bunch from 2019, then it drops off after the find. I believe that there is going to be things said in those emails that he doesn't even understand. What do you say? What say you, Cynthia?
Yes, plus more. I'm saying, yes, you are right, but there's more.
So I don't think this is over, guys. This is the begin. And Jamie has said, once I get my trial coming up in a month or 2, I'm putting out all the emails that I got in discovery. I actually don't think he will, because I think he will be sanctioned or whatever, but he's also a little bit off enough. He might. I think we could figure out 9 Mile Hole if we had all of the emails between Jack and Forrest. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, just the pictures that are there. I mean, it's for sure.
Sam, what do you mean? He says, did they tell Yellowstone they were holding back the find for a year? What does that mean? I don't know.
Tell Yellowstone they were holding back the find for a year. The find.
I don't know.
Say it a little differently.
2 months after it was found, they had a meeting with Yellowstone. And I'm sure at that time, Yellowstone said, don't put it out and we'll let it go. Well, now this lawsuit was going to force Jack to put it out. You can't lie under deposition. So they intervene. Yellowstone intervened and say, Judge, he can't disclose this because of these reasons. We think it'll imperil.
Well, and Goldilocks brings up a good point. It is opposed. I thought it was going to be unopposed by what McCracken had said, where the court may not give credence to any of this. So the judge may come back and say, no, you've provided enough to say it was found in your park. Sorry, there's 4.4 million people that come to your park. I'm not granting your motion. Wouldn't that be interesting?
And Jack's got to give the exact location if he's asked, right?
Yes, he will need to. And Jamie has already said, like, when I depose him, I need his solve. So he's already said his solve and location was going to be a part of his deposition.
All right.
Oh, Adam, you missed.
Our friend from overseas. Yeah, give it to him in 10 seconds.
Okay, can you put up the 1-pager? Here's the 1-pager, Adam. There's an 8-page document that came from Yellowstone's chief ranger. They met with Forrest the park met with Forrest and Jack via Zoom in August of 2018. So this confirms 2020. Yellowstone, it confirms that the treasure was found in Yellowstone, that Jack outlined where he found it, Forrest outlined where he hid it, and these areas matched. They went out to the location. The location does not have trails, has infrastructure issues and resources that would, if an increased population went there, that the area could be damaged, littered, people would create their own trails, and damage fish species. Chasers have both before and after the chest was found have been stalking, damaging, reckless and injury. I should say reckless and injury. So they are making a request to basically put a gag order because the visitor surge there is not equipped for the people and the searchers to come out there. Boom! You don't even need to watch an hour and a half. But if you want to actually see the document, Adam, that's where it is. Wow.
Piglet says Harry is freaking out on his site, right? LOL. I don't know if he means he actually is or just in general. Sam says, I meant when they went to the park in August 2020 and informed them, did they clarify that Jack actually located the chest in 2019? Well, there's no way to know that, so who knows?
Okay, so Goldilocks, let me talk to that. Jamie said Jack's deposition was not court ordered, so he doesn't have to respond. From what I'm understanding, because of the joint defense agreement, and I may be wrong, though it wasn't court ordered, Jack was willing to take the deposition. And though it wasn't served to Jack, it was served to Tom. And because it was served to Tom, he is complying. He has been complying all along the way. And yes, I'm sorry, Jack, I didn't realize this. And when he was asked to be deposed, they didn't serve him in Puerto Rico or wherever he's at. They just served, they have a joint defense agreement, and the estate is Forrest and Jack have their own agreement. So yes, he isn't compelled to come, but Tom took the serving, and he is scheduled. And from what I understand, he's going to be there and answer anything legally he can. And I actually have, I don't think we'll go over it tomorrow. I actually have what's in a deposition, who goes, how is it recorded, what comes out of it, and when can you plead the fifth? I've been working on that for the last week because people were asking, what does this deposition mean? What does trial mean? All of that. So I will have that. I don't know if we'll do it tomorrow because I think we need to absorb this. But so you're right, but there's kind of a nuance.
Christy, I have one question. Jack's deposition is still scheduled for the 29th, right?
Correct.
It's going to go forward. All this does is the government is asking that Jack not disclose the actual spot 9 mile. Well, I'm saying 9 mile hole. And it doesn't mean that the judge will accept it. It is still possible. So basically, the government's going to argue that it should not be disclosed, and the Fenn estate side did not oppose that motion.
Right. And Jamie did. So here's how I understand the next, now up until the 29th. So they put in the request to intervene. The judge, sometime probably this next week, definitely before the deposition, Zoe's is on the 28th, Jack's is on the 29th. The judge will then, in fact, say yes or no. So let's say they say yes, your motion to intervene is granted. Then Yellowstone will have a representative at the deposition. This is how I understand it goes. Then, so it will be most likely, let's take Jack's deposition. It will be Jamie, it will be Carl or Hickey, or maybe both. Zoe has the option as representative to attend, Jack and a representative. So let's say Jamie's question is, where did you find the treasure? The Yellowstone person will chime in and say, we will not answer that. Do not answer that based on the motion to intervene granted by the judge. And they will continue, but it'll already say, so Jamie shouldn't ask anyway, but if he does, from what I understand, the motion to intervener will have a right to be there if it is granted. That's how I understand it. I may be wrong. I'm not a lawyer. I don't play one on TV or YouTube.
So it says no river crossing through water required, falls under the safety rule. Well,
I agree.
Hiding it in a Yellowstone National Park falls under the legality rule, but I don't think Forrest cared. So
now let's take it the other way. Let's say the judge says, no, we're not granting the motion to intervene. Jamie's already said, I'm asking for the 9 clues. Right. I'm asking for the final look. I'm asking for all of it. And he will answer. The only thing you can't answer is something that'll incriminate you. Well, I guess that might fall anyway. And personal information, like, I don't remember. I have it on a different PowerPoint. I got PowerPoints everywhere, but I actually have so maybe no, but he's already taken the deposition. I think he wants it out. Yeah. So there you go. There you have it. So, and then there's a pretrial. So we are in the part where, like I said last week, and I guess I'm really understanding this now. Our court system is set up so neither side walks in with an aha surprise. You didn't get to prepare for this, and I have some last minute evidence or secret evidence. You actually have to make a list of all your evidence and give it to the other side in a timely fashion, etc. So this deposition is just them getting enough information of what they will eventually put in the court trial. So then there's a pretrial before that just kind of makes sure all the ducks are in a row. So at this point, all they're doing is collecting data to then present at trial. So right now, that is what they're doing. And these depositions give that, because whatever you say there, you're under perjury if you change your story later. But again, what has happened? The government has said you're not allowed to answer anything about the 9 clues or final location.
So Armed to the Chair Production says, if Yellowstone already knows the location, there just shouldn't be any legal reason for Jack not to be able to disclose it. Armed to the Chair, you should actually read the motion. They give their legal reasons for not disclosing it, which we just went over. So maybe just rewatch it. You'll see.
Okay, now here's an interesting point, though. This motion to intervene came after Forrest Estate was motion to compel to provide all of the emails to McCracken. He has all the emails between Jack and Forrest. He just now will not be able to share them if the motion to intervene happens, which makes it so much spicier. This is like, there's, in a perfect world, Jamie should have never gotten those emails if they do disclose different locations or the location. So
here's a good one from Packer Jack, and it's an important point. He says, in a moment of seriousness, I wish those that are mentally and emotionally vested in it not being in Yellowstone, some are not well, peace be with them and good health and happiness as well. If you thought it wasn't in Yellowstone, it's not the end of the world, guys. The thrill of the chase should not be the end of the world for you. If you were wrong, just realize you were wrong. The treasure chest was located somewhere in Yellowstone National Park. That's a fact from what has been this motion the government or the park ranger has submitted. And just, it's not the end of the world if you were wrong. Just get over it and just move on with your life. That's my suggestion. I know that's a lot easy for me to say, but a lot of people were wrong. Everybody was wrong but Jack, right? Jack's the one that found it. So just kind of do what you got to do to get over it and move on.
Well, so there's 2 comments. That is not true. Just because they intervene doesn't mean Harry can't disclose the emails. He cannot disclose the emails if he's put under the motion to intervene of anything that says the 9 clues or final location. Right. That's my opinion. You will see later, maybe more. Whatever the reason they gave in the motion, those aren't going to hold up against a FOIA request. So it's kind of pointless. Yes, it will. If you've ever done a FOIA and the black lines, they redact the parts that are protected under the regulations. So the opposite is actually true, Jeremy. If once this order comes into effect, and if you have done a FOIA, and I have, this is not found within Yellowstone. And this is not found in the documents. Try the FOIA yourself. You're going to see this Zoom meeting is not in the FOIA document, which I have some reasons why I think that happened, but why even just look at the facts. We want to stick with the facts.
So I'm going to ask 2 serious questions, one for K-Pro and one for Cynthia. And they're serious, and I'll let you guys answer. The first one is from Hooley, and it says, why are you listed as an interested party, K-Pro?
So I have a couple reasons I believe that I could be named. So if you don't know, I am listed as one of the interested parties just under Jack Stoof. I'm interested party number 3. Yes, my name is misspelled, but I do believe that is my first name spelled right. There's 3 reasons I believe that it could be. And until I confirm which one it is, I'm not going to say. But I don't know is the answer for sure, but I have a really good suspicion. And once I validate that with the courts, I will answer that question. So at this point, I'm not going to answer it because it would be speculation. You guys hate speculation, but it's speculation on my part about me. And I know that's opened me up to a lot of personal stuff since that has come out, because now, the wide world has my name and they're getting personal again. I don't care about that. There is either a very simple reason or a very complicated reason, and I've got to figure that out before I say.
And for Cynthia, what do you say to those that say you have withheld information all this time? So you've put out these interviews with Forrest that you've had, for however long. And what do you say to those people that say you've withheld information?
I guess they aren't watching enough of my videos or reading my blog, because I've put out everything.
Right. Well, I'll just say this. No searcher owes anybody anything. Every searcher has inside information. What do I mean by that? Every searcher that ever emailed Forrest and got a response, that's information from Forrest. Nobody's owed anything, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. But no searchers owe other searchers anything. Not even Jack, in my opinion. We now see why Jack did what he did, in my opinion, again. I just, yeah, there's interviews that were done that have never been released. And those people that did the interviews, they have that information. It's not owed to you. I mean, it's just not, in my opinion. We can all go, we all have our own YouTube channels and we can go live. In my opinion, you should keep it civil and not call people liars and things. But yeah, nobody's owed anything. The only person who owed us something is Forrest, and Forrest is gone. That's just my opinion. So.
Mike, I do have one more thing to say. Anyone that really knows me knows I'm not going to stop with this. Obviously, I'm going to try to find the log at the Nook, and if I actually do find it and it's still identifiable after 3 winters on top of that log, then I will consult my attorney whether or not I give away the GPS or what I legally want to. What kind of hot water do I actually want to put myself in? But along with that, I'm not one to stop until we have total closure, and that includes Fenn's disclosure of the poem and the 9 clues. So I'm going to keep working. So I will still be headed to Santa Fe a lot.
And if you choose to share it, thank you. But you're not obligated to share anything, in my opinion.
I am going to share it. That's the whole point.
No, and that's why I said thank you. But I don't think you owe it to anybody.
And I think one of the recent ones is there was an article written, and then now there's all this cutting room floor footage that Cynthia was not a part of, but she had, so she shared. And some people are like, it shows the jars are important. There is a lot of documentarians that have cutting room floor footage that would have been so helpful. They're still holding it now. So if there needs to be Venom should be going else. I don't have any of them. So and we put out our entire documentary. And I think now everybody's saying, well, since you did it, all these other reporters should do it. And anyone that has any of it, even if you have to act illegally and put it out. That's not how documentarian worlds work. They keep that for their footage. And I do think it's unfortunate because there's some of them that I think are so informational, but they're going through their process.
So let me ask you guys this. And again, this is speculation on our part, but if a documentary or film crew files a permit with Yellowstone National Park to film at 9 Mile Hole in the next couple of years, do you think they would grant it or do you think they would not?
Oh, I want to address this. The rule just changed lately regarding the size of the film crew versus needing a permit. And I know this for a fact because I shot with Vox for 2 weeks in the Madison River. And because their film crew was, I think, under 5 or 6, they actually did have 5. But they met the requirements to not have to have a permit from Yellowstone.
Oh, I see.
And regarding another reason I was so shocked to get this document Christy read today, regarding how much Yellowstone actually knew about searchers still being in the area.
Yeah.
I was so surprised. The 2 weeks we shot in the Madison River, including Madison Junction, the water hole, but mostly 9 Mile Hole and at Fenn Rock. We were in that river, and Tony Rusi knows because he saw us. We spent hours in the river where every car passing could see what we were doing, which obviously rangers knew we were there. Not once in those 2 weeks did they ever stop and say, what are you guys doing? Do you have a permit? Blah, blah. They totally left us alone. And I always wondered why, and now I know. Other than that, I did know that we did not need a film permit because of the crew size. But little did I know at the time how much they actually knew of what was going on.
They knew the location. Yeah, they knew the location. At least
do you think
and that's what's really funny. I didn't know at the time that Yellowstone knew.
Right.
And now we know they did.
Now, do you think maybe they made sure that they are documenting, like the camera is put up by a searcher? Do you think they know that, but they're leaving it up? So then if they have to go into this motion to intervene, they're just let anybody do anything the last year, except if it was like safety issues, because that helps their case when they put in this motion to intervene?
Yeah, that would be one interesting thing that I'm going to try to find out is, does Yellowstone, does Sarah Davis actually know about all the cameras that are there, and specifically on the island? That I don't know, but I'm going to try to find that out. And it'll also be interesting to see if they all are still there.
So do you guys agree with this? A lot of people have made a big deal that where the actual treasure chest was 200 feet. Is it 200 feet from the Madison or 500 feet from the road? That's not special. Why would Forrest think that's special? It's Fenn Rock that was special. It's that stretch of the Madison where he fished with his family. That's why it was his special spot. Do you guys agree with that? But he can't hide a treasure chest right there at Fenn Rock. He had to go off into the woods to hide it. And if he was going to follow through when he had cancer to go die, he would have went off into the woods to die. But it's that stretch of the Madison that's special to him, not the actual spot where the chest was. Do you guys agree with that or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to me that just makes
I do not believe it's the exact spot. I believe
Right.
the location,
Not
9
the-
Mile Hole, the honey hole, the fishing in a barrel, the racing his grandpa's because only one person could get there, the going back a little ways, going up the creek, the obsidians at the top of the grave. It's that whole area. He needed to find an exact spot, but
Right.
he has never said that exact spot is so special to me.
He
So
said
there's-
the location, but we
Right.
think in general, the
That's
location.
9 Mile Hole.
That
There's
stretch
a
of
couple
Madison.
questions. Since Yellowstone was told the precise spot, is it possible that they have already removed the nook or the log?
Oh,
I thought of that. I
Oh.
don't know.
I don't know either. Okay. How does this affect the sale of the treasure chest, if at all? I don't think it affects it at all.
In my opinion, the value of the treasure chest diminishes every day. The more, I mean, if all the stuff comes out, I just don't see it. I don't know. It's just me. I'm not bidding for it, so I guess it means
right.
nothing. It doesn't.
I
mean
still
anything.
hope it's public. I hope it goes up publicly to be auctioned, whether it's in pieces or together. I just would like to see it, how it plays out, but we'll see. So would you guys agree that after this probate case is settled, Jack is then free and clear to sell it? There's no more.
I think he's already trying to. It's just taking longer than he expected. I don't think he held things up.
It's already available to sell. He just, there's the last I heard, they're still trying to get the last of the coins back, which were the hardest things to appraise. And
in my opinion, I think it makes the value go up. This is the famed Forrest Fenn Treasure, which was now in Yellowstone for 10 years. I think that illegally you could argue in Yellowstone for 10 years. I think that makes it a better story.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it just increased its worth.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we now to believe the cameras were put up by Yellowstone and not a searcher as often?
No, we know that.
No, we know. Who, yeah,
Yellowstone.
They absolutely 100% were not put up by Yellowstone. I was there when multiple cameras were installed. I did not do it. I do not own them. Therefore, I will not remove them because they are not mine.
Do you think Yellowstone will put up a camera at 9 Mile Hole? But they can't prevent. It's not illegal to cross the Madison. People do it to fish all the time, so it's not like they can stop people from crossing, right?
Right. Do you remember when? Correct. And do you remember when Alan Kelly? I don't know if you know a lot about his solve. I don't know exactly where, but he said when he came down off of wherever he was, the Rangers were like, "Hey, we need to check your stuff or whatever," and he was like, they watched him for like an hour out doing boots on the ground. He never acted illegally, so he was fine. I think that's what they have done. Is maybe they'll put up a camera. Those cameras are not Yellowstone's, in my opinion, and even more so, we have an eyewitness. But even more than that, I think Yellowstone will. They can just sit and watch. They might have sat and watched, and we all made it. So
Carrie Galloway says it's the People's Park, and I think that's how Forrest felt about it. He was like, "You're not going to tell me I can't hide. It's the People's Park. The people own this." I think that was Forrest's attitude on a lot of things, and that's why he said, "I'm going to go hide it anyway, regardless."
Well, do you remember when I told you about the tubers that they went just like our show, like a little YouTube show, and it was like family vacations, and they actually shot in Yellowstone, and it came out. They actually were sued by Yellowstone because they didn't pull a permit. And their position was, it's the People's Park. It's just us. But they're like, no, you're a monetized channel. That is why I believe single-handedly they got it overturned. And so they did not get sued, or they got their money back. But this goes exactly to the point. I think that's why the regulation was changed. As long as your camera does not hit the ground, you have to keep it up on you. Then you're considered kind of an amateur, and it's the People's Park. But that wasn't
hit the ground, meaning a tripod. When you say hit the
whatever
ground.
that looks like, a tripod, whatever. That's what I understand. One of the biggest it has to be a crew under 5 or under. The equipment does not physically get on the ground, so it's like more of a so for the handheld people of the world. And it helped clarify what is considered, even if you make money, if you make $4, I know some people make that a big deal. So anyway,
I disagree about the tripod thing. the cameramen in the box shoot, they use tripods. They had their big awesome cameras. I mean, they carried them mostly, but they also use tripods. And obviously they looked into what they had to do before they spent $50,000 to shoot.
Right.
So Holy says, do you think this is a turd stunt?
How?
Oh my God.
I don't know. So the only way, I think, when I explain your question a little bit more, the only way this is a turd stunt is if Turd was not able to get Yellowstone involved at such a high level to submit documents on their behalf. So the only way this is a stunt, and this is not true that it was Yellowstone, would have to be if either the estate or someone got Yellowstone and the federal government to submit something. Is it possible? It maybe 0.0000001. I'm not going to say anything's 100%. I don't even see it as likely, probable, even in the realm of possibilities, but I won't say anything's absolute. Maybe
I will.
Okay.
I absolutely know 100% this is a real document. So let's move on.
Right.
I mean, it's so stupid to waste time, on my opinion, on this bullshit when we know 100% this is real.
Right.
Yeah.
It's filed in court, guys. What do you?
Right. Do we know for a fact that Harry is McCracken?
Yes. Move on. Next. I'm going to take over your show.
The answer is yes. Okay.
Yeah. Harry McCracken might be posting fake documents. No.
It ain't a fake document. Next.
Okay. That's all that I think I caught up in chat.
As a interesting point, the park can close an area and ticket you when they catch you, much like the bear closings in the spring. Would they close 9 Mile Hole? Would they close the crossing? Fishermen would be pissed off.
Yes.
But they could. Technically, it's in their purview to do it if they wanted to, right?
That technically is a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
If they
want to out there, Cynthia. You're going to stop at the old Ranger's office and say, hey, I'm here when you go back.
Am I going to tell them I'm there? No, they can see my truck with my TTOTC plate. They'll know if I'm there.
Right. So hanging cameras in trees is legal. No. I don't know about that.
I don't know if that was legal or not. But
it is not legal. It is not legal. I talked to, I don't know if it was a ranger or a visitor or whatever. And I'm like, can I set up something? And they're like, absolutely not. You can't. And if we see it, we will confiscate it. And I was like, okay. I just asked generically when I was in Yellowstone, what was it? Last trip, whenever that last trip was. And they're like, absolutely not. And okay. So, and they did say, if you see anything, you need to return it to the park superintendent. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh yeah. And I do have something about how serious the park really can be about taking anything. Mm-hmm. When Steve S., the judge, and I were hiking Gardner last May before, and we were at Obsidian Cliff in the park, and there were 2 guys that were over along the cliff, and it looked like they might be picking things up, and there's signs all over. It is illegal to take any obsidian that you find. So Steve and I are over there talking to these guys. One guy said he was really a geologist, and he was explaining different things to us when a Yellowstone National Park SUV went past us. And in less than 30 seconds, they had turned around and they came screaming back down the road with their lights on to us. Really? Now, it was actually funny, sort of. But they approached, it was 2 women, and the one was so stern, I wasn't sure she wasn't going to pull a gun and kill us. But to the 2 guys that were with Steve and me, she quizzed them. She made them empty their pockets. And what was so funny is the one guy did have a pocket full of obsidian, but as they stopped and walked to us, he nonchalantly emptied his pockets so that they couldn't find it. And she quizzed us about, you're not allowed to touch this stuff, because I had picked up a rock and to look, and she said, you're not even allowed to pick that up. And I said, the guy was just showing me, he was explaining it. He's a geologist. And so that, she calmed down over that. But yeah, she made those guys empty their pockets. And it was quite an experience to be actually questioned by a very nasty ranger in the park.
Well, just think of Jack when he's retrieved it. It's in his backpack, and he's crossing the
Yeah.
Madison, and he's driving out. He had to be crapping his pants. I mean, he had to
Yeah.
be so nervous and
I
paranoid.
would,
Somebody
I would
was-
say so. Absolutely.
Jack has never said it was in Yellowstone National Park for sure, has he? That is correct. Jack has never said, but they did a Zoom with Yellowstone National Park 2 months after it was found. That's why. I'm sure they told him, if you disclose the location, we're going to take you to court. We'll let it go as long as you don't disclose the location. That's my opinion, right? Why? What else
Right.
would they Zoom about? I mean,
Well, and let's add in some context.
Uh-huh.
We believe that Condor is Jack. I would say almost 100%, very close. He was searching on the Madison, and we know from Forrest in Wyoming, and Jack has said Wyoming. That puts you in the park. So, yes, he has not said, I found it at 9 Mile Hole. But a logical treasure hunter could figure out very easily, I think, putting these pieces together. And yeah, the Yellowstone person is the issue. And
so Kerry Galloway says, can we FOIA the location and description? Well, no, that's their motion saying we have a reason to not disclose it. So you're not going to get anything from the FOIA. Somebody earlier said, well, you can't FOIA the location, but can we FOIA where the deputy ranger and this lady went to when they went to the location? Well, how are you going to do that? I mean, do they have a log of everywhere they go to in the park or something? I mean, how are you going to?
well, even to go to that. So when the FBI raided and BLM raided Forrest home, there was a ton of stuff redacted. Why? Because anything that they don't want to put out, they put it under redaction. And if you are willing, and after someone dies, a lot more of it comes out and all of that. But no, they'll redact it from what I understand.
And Hooley points out, thanks, Cynthia. I just haven't seen the proof yet. Please be patient. It's a big pill to swallow. I think people are saying they're going to wait until the court. It's actually
Right.
filed with the court, and it's part of
that document will have a stamp
understand,
on the
Hooley.
upper left or the
Right.
blue thing at the top. And yeah, so
Can we FOIA the Zoom meeting notes? You can, but the location will be redacted, right?
where are the Zoom meeting notes if
Yeah, what
there are
meeting?
any?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was
And if there
recorded,
are, it would be redacted if there
it
was.
would be redacted. Yeah.
Okay, so Hal asks, has any authority ever asked you to censor, discourage certain topics on Thor, presumably so searchers won't enter damaged areas? No.
Do you have that bracelet, K-Pro, handy?
Ah,
Show it. Show it.
I think you're going to wear it.
Guys.
Downstairs. It's downstairs.
Oh, you don't have it?
I'll go get it. I'll go get it. I'll
Did
go
you
get
fix the loose stone yet?
it.
Yeah. So listen, guys, there's been some weird coincidences over the last 2 years. We understand that. That LLC was on that date that we made. I get it. This storage unit we found Zane Grey books after Zane Grey books were in the storage unit after people were talking about Zane Grey for whatever reason. One of the books had The Blaze written on it. Somebody in Cran wrote The Blaze on this book. And we found a bracelet that looks a lot like a bracelet you may be familiar with. K-Pro's going to show you. We went through some costume jewelry, and there it was. And I said, what the heck? That looks exactly. I told her to wear it today as a joke and just not say anything. But she's going to show it to you right now. There's been some really weird coincidences, but that's what they are. They're coincidences. Look at that bracelet that she's wearing. Look,
Holy
that was in the
cow.
costume jewelry. I mean,
Oh my God.
Isn't that insane?
Holy smoke.
With Blaze, with the book that says Blaze, with the, I don't know what you said when I was running.
The Zane Grey books. The Zane Grey books.
But it's
a cowboy hat was in there. I mean, just the weird stuff. And I was telling them, like, the RLC on that date, there's these weird coincidences.
the Buffalo Bill. So there it is. I fixed that. It was that stone. It's all better.
But that was in the storage unit.
Yeah,
all right. MG says Forrest said no one was around when he hid the treasure. How is this possible at 9 Mile? Forrest even yelled out, Forrest, did I really do that? I don't think he yelled it out, but he said it. But anyway, 9 Mile Hole, is there people there like all the time? Cynthia?
No.
I've sat there in the afternoon alone. The people fish it in the morning and in the evening and during the day. It's often empty except for me, Justin, Jens, or Rudy Green.
Yeah. And don't you think Forrest would know the good time to go when the fishermen are not there?
He already said he did it in the afternoon. So yeah, in the afternoon, there's often nobody there.
So I've been there, let's say 8 times, 10 times, somewhere around there. I would say half of the time there was someone sitting having lunch or a fisherman, and about half the time there was no one. The one time we went up to the island and there was no one there, and when we came back down there was fishermen sitting at the home of Brown. And that's, I said, is that a good fishing hole? He's like fishing in a barrel. And so that's the fishing in the barrel spot. So they weren't there when we went, and that's where I think Forrest is it's not like Old Faithful or Madison, but it is an area that is, it's unique when it's completely, I think there would be, let's see if you agree with me, Cynthia, there's at least one visitor there every single day at 9 Mile Hole.
Like, there wasn't in the snow when I was, no, well, I don't know.
Oh yeah, April 15th.
No.
Per day? Do you mean per day? Okay, bro.
It's a very pretty spot. If you're just driving through and you want to take pictures of the Madison River, lots of people stop for 5 minutes and do that.
Right. I think at least a person.
And the fishermen, they fish there in the morning and they fish there at night. And then otherwise, there may or may not be anyone there.
Wait, Copper Dan just got here. Can I summarize for him? Look, Copper Dan. Look, Copper Dan.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why you're an interested party.
Breaking news.
All right.
I got my Santa Fe package, Copper Dan.
Here's a question. Cynthia, why do you need to know the location? It's an honest question. They're yelling at you. Why do you need to know the location?
Because I've been searching for this for 10 years. It's been my life for 10 years. It's been other people's lives for 10 years. And I was so close to Forrest. I just want to know.
Are you upset that you searched outside of Wyoming for all the times you did? And it ended
oh my God, no. I learned northern New Mexico. It was incredible. No, I loved it. I don't mind. I learned so much.
Right. Cynthia, what do you think the home of Brown was? Or do you know? Do you think you know what it is or what it was or what it is? I guess it is still the home of Brown, huh?
Yes, I know.
Will you say it? Or if you won't, what's the reason why you will not?
I'm going to work on getting it out to everybody. How about that?
Okay. And guess what? That goes back to what I said, guys. She doesn't owe you a solution. She doesn't owe you anything. So she'll give it out on her YouTube channel, her blog when she wants to, right?
I think I've learned, and I think I'm going to speak a little bit for Cynthia. Maybe the reason she's not going to just give out her opinion is then everybody says liar and calls her a snake and goes on for hours and hours.
Right.
So just wait. And she's going to now wait until there's actual evidence behind it.
That's absolutely right. I'm going to work on getting it legally. I'm going to work on getting it to where it can go out to the whole public.
Fair enough.
And because me just saying it's my opinion, even though I think I have credibility, I understand the people that are not going to believe it unless it comes from the Fenn estate. So let me work on that.
Cynthia, do you think Jack solved the poem or he just found the treasure?
No, he solved it. I mean, read Reddit. I mean, actually, it's not Reddit as much as it is all the questions and answers. And I do want to mention one more thing here. When us Nookers were along the Madison there for the 2 weeks, we privately, especially Justin, also emailed back and forth with Jack. I did as well throughout the summer as we searched to try to find the 2 logs that were in the picture we had at the time. There are a lot of people sent their emails between them and Jack to someone who created that database. Justin never shared his. So Jack talked to Justin regarding how he searched his grid area. And I was asked by Justin not to share those emails, and I never have, and I will not. But there's information that is somewhat detailed, and I believe using that information, I have a good shot at finding the Nook log picture, which we now have all seen. So I forget what the original question was, but anyway.
Do you believe Jack actually found it?
Oh,
you believe he solved the clue?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yes, I do think he solved it, and based on some of the emails that I have seen between him and Justin.
So Dan really joined late and doesn't know? Is that what we're saying, Dan? Come on, Dan. What, did you just get done jogging? How far back in the forest do you need to go at 9 Mile Hole before no one can see you from across the river? That's an interesting question.
Only about, I'd say
Not very far.
not very far, maybe
I don't know,
25 feet,
50
50 feet.
feet maybe.
Yeah,
50
not very. I'm surprised how thick it gets so quick. I mean, it was, and the hard part is this area did have a fire, so there's all these little, like,
Right.
talking dime size, but they're everywhere. To be able to try to navigate it, it's difficult unless you're going up one of the creeks. But then once you go into the forest, there's some parts that are so dense. So like maybe 25 feet, 50 feet. I'd say 50 feet is. You look back down, you can't even see the Madison anymore.
But Davio, you're not delusional. The ramifications of this are horrific. No, they're not. You were just wrong. Toby of AGK was wrong. You know what I mean? What did Toby think where warm water salt was? A Cimarron? What was it in New Mexico that he always talked about?
The fishing.
fishing.
The warm
Halos-
fishing water.
What is it?
The fishing regulations.
Rios
designate
de los
certain-
Pinos.
yeah.
Los Pinos. It's not delusional. Everybody was wrong, Davio.
No,
Just
but
don't
here's
think
what I
you're
don't
wrong.
like
Everybody
about.
was wrong.
I'm gonna trash Forrest a little bit here. The best puzzles and riddles rule out everywhere else and make it obvious when you're right and it's only one location. The one thing this treasure hunt and poem did not do is that.
Right.
Though, if you believe 9 Mile Hole, and we don't have total comfort, but if you believe Madison Junction Canyon down is Madison Canyon to Homa Brown, which is and then the creek right there, if you believe that, there's 100 other solves that are just as good.
Exactly.
And
So-
so it's not any of us being delusional. I have a better solve than Forrest. It was Nez Perce Trail and the battles. It's better because it's in history and this and that. It just wasn't it. It wasn't
that make it
Forrest.
A genius poem, or does that make it a bad poem?
Bad.
It fits so many locations.
Bad.
What do you think?
Unless there was one thing that ruled everything else out, it's bad.
Right.
Because what you're supposed to say,
Right.
he said it'll take you to an exact. I think he said some things that he.
And
Got
Davio, the important part is you don't have to like it and you don't have to agree with it. It was in Yellowstone, but you don't like it. I don't think it was a great poem.
Yeah.
I don't, because it did lead you to so many locations. Everybody was 100% right. Look how long Cynthia searched in New Mexico and wherever else you searched outside of Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And
So
and
don't
Silver
beat
Fox
yourself
says we don't know that. We don't know the solve. Right. I said, and I started this. If you believe 9 Mile Hole, and I know a lot of people don't, but here's the big thing. Today, there's some of you still in chat saying it's not Yellowstone. I don't know if you really take your emotions out of it. How can you say that? Yellowstone just intervened to protect the spot after a meeting with Forrest and Jack, and they went out to the location under their jurisdiction, which is Yellowstone. All I'm going is as far as to say, like Wyoming, when everyone was like, it's not Wyoming because they said we agreed. Well, no, he put it in a court document like 17 times. Some people still didn't believe Wyoming. I do. Today, 100%, I believe Yellowstone. That's as far as we can get. And Yellowstone with all the other descriptions. But go ahead, Mike.
No, I'll just say we don't know the solve yet. So I wish that somebody, if it came from Forrest himself, if it came from the family, if it came from this video they had with Yellowstone, if it could actually come out, then we can debate the merits of the poem and the clues. We just don't know at this point. I think Yellowstone makes perfect sense. The location makes perfect sense. Fenn Rock, his fishing hole, that's where he wanted to hide it. You can't do it right there. How are you? It's going to be found in an hour. You have to go back in the woods to hide it, right? So all that makes sense. How did that poem lead us there is what I want to know.
Well,
and we still can debate it. We still don't know yet.
This is funny because
9 clues worth.
I'm trying to give both sides, but Vertigo says, I respectfully disagree with me again. The poem leads to 9 Mile Hole in a way that excludes other places. People just don't listen carefully to the explanation. And that's true too. I think I don't think anyone explaining it other than Forrest or Jack, and probably Jack isn't even good enough. I don't think, anyway, it's just now how this is all kind of unrolled or unraveled. I just don't know if we're not always going to agree. Yeah. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
You don't have to. It's okay. You don't have to like the poem. You can say it was a horrible solution. That's okay. That's valid. You can think it's a horrible solution. Somebody else can think it's a brilliant solution. That's okay.
So Silver Fox, where's the proof of any of this? If you go, okay, I don't know what that is. We just went over the 8-page document. The second thing is we've done many shows on is Condor. Is Condor Jack? Is Jack Condor? That would give us Madison. We have Wyoming there's too many pieces to know what that is, but that's my That's my opinion.
Christine Coonsey with the $3 super chat to the
Ooh.
PayPal. Thank you, Christine. We appreciate it.
Nice.
Yeah,
Thank
we do
you.
appreciate it. Oh, we do appreciate the support, guys. We appreciate the thumbs up. We appreciate you guys talking about the videos we do. We just, even if you differ, if your opinion is different, we just say, don't get into personal stuff. Don't call people's work. Don't tell so-and-so works here. This is her full name. Don't do that. We don't do it to you, so don't do it to us. Just respectfully disagree with us if you want to. That's all good and fair.
Yeah, and you know what? If somebody does want to sit and just make fun of me, that's okay. But I don't associate with those people. And then you think you can come here as long as you're nice here and be in our chat room. You don't get to be in our sphere. And though you get on 5 different accounts and you force yourself in, you don't get to force someone to associate with you. Once you decide to do things like steal and call names and do entire show, just don't be in our sphere. We're different types of people. And I'm not that type of person. Leave me alone. I have the right to say that.
Cynthia has the light of truth shining on her right now.
Exactly.
Now, the one
Look
thing
at that shining on my head.
The one thing that several are saying in chat, this is only something that Harry made up and put on.
Right.
Harry.
That's a good point.
It is not in the court document until tomorrow morning.
Right.
Go to the document, please. To the 8-pager.
Yeah, hang on. What'd I do with it? Nope, that's not it. That's not it. Hang on. It's gone. No, there it is. All right. There it is. The document, yeah.
So go to the top.
Uh-huh.
Actually, go to the signature page.
Very bottom.
Yeah, it should have Friday's date.
April 22nd. So Friday. This, according to what Harry posted, this was sent to the court on Friday, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's what this says. So that means it always takes a day to get into the court doc. So this was
served via electronic mail and via the court's EFS system. I don't know what EFS is. Electronic filed system would be my guess, but I don't know. On Friday. So yes, it should be in the court officially on Monday. Posted. I guess you could say posted.
Yes.
So yeah. And then you guys, again, you can publicly apologize.
No, and you know what? Goldilocks is a great example. She actually saw my name before I saw my name in the court system. And she was like, what's going on here? And what she says is she asks questions. Goldilocks has never been, let me talk to you and you're lying. All she says is stop for a second. We don't have this officially. She's right. We are discussing this that seems to be electronically and emailed and all of that on Friday. It'll be one day delayed and it's on Monday that it will hit the system and there'll be a line item with the docket. I hope they don't delay because of something else, but it will be officially stamped and we'll show the stamp when the stamp goes in. But this is the document that I believe is the motion to intervene that we have been talking to for several weeks now. And it's referenced in the reason the deposition was delayed, which was filed by Carl Summer. He said in that document, the reason that we are delaying is there's going to be a motion to intervene by the government, something like that. And I have that document somewhere. And so there was already telltale signs. So this is, in my opinion, because here's the thing. If Jamie represents something and he doctors information, that can be used against him in court. And the exhibit list of Summer has already said we are going to be giving some of the things that we want to put in, exhibits that we want to put in for evidence is going to be Harry's postings. If he doctors information, he will be held under perjury, in my opinion. And I don't know if it's perjury or they just throw it out or some technicality. He hasn't put anything up there that has been non-factual up to this point in his mind. Like he hasn't posted an email that I believe has been wrong or an attachment that has been doctored. That's my opinion, but we'll wait until tomorrow and we will show that tomorrow night's show.
Well, that ties into Zozo saying thinking changes as more factual information is revealed. You're repeating all of this as opinions based upon bits of info that could be presented in a certain context. Our whole show is opinions, Zozo. I'm not going to do what AGK did in the description of every video, say this is our opinion. You guys should know that. It's an opinion show, but we do bring you the actual news related to the Forrest Fenn Treasure when it's released, like the pictures of the Nook, like the court case, etc. But you're right. It is opinion. That's what we do. Of course it's opinion. Just like you have your opinion, just like everybody else has their own opinion. That's how it works. provide a place for people to come together and talk about the opinions that everybody has. So I'm not sure why people don't understand that. I don't know.
Yeah,
This
and
is all
you know
based
what, we
on
can
Harry posting a document, but Friday you will see it in the court that it's
Monday.
not based on Harry, or Monday, or whenever it happens next week, Goldilocks. So just wait and see. That's all I can tell you. Okay. Oh, there was one based on the fire hole. I wanted to get your take, Cynthia, and that is, so why is it that I must go and leave my trove for all to seek? Where warm waters halt is the fire hole. Is the fire hole is the largest trove of warm waters in the world? Is that? I mean, I've never heard that. Is that true?
I've only read of it regarding the rivers in Yellowstone. It's the warmest river in Yellowstone. I don't know about the whole world.
Oh, okay. So maybe
know
the
any.
book was supposed to lead you to Yellowstone as a starting point, and then it was where's the warmest waters, and yeah, I don't know. Then where does the fire hole halt? Where would the
Well,
point?
Madison Junction.
Madison
Jesus.
Junction.
Oh, so it is Madison. Oh, then okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's
That's
where
right.
that warm water halts is the first clue.
Well, and these are the nuances that I think, because Cynthia and I are more into this, that Mike, you might not get. She did the one video. The fire hole was the one referenced in Flywater. The fire hole was taken out. The fire
Right.
hole is where river bathing is best. The fire hole is where there is warm water. So where warm waters halt, warm waters is fire hole. Where does it halt? At Madison Junction. That's different than the confluence is the fire hole was the important part, right? That was big to me, and I think it was glossed over by many. I now understand why WWWH was worded the way it was.
So Silver Fox says, Mike, I do disagree openly, but you said people who disagree are wrong. Can you not do that? If I said that, what I'm referring to is you can't disagree with facts. We all have our opinion, but don't disagree with facts. There is a court case. There. What is he referring to? Maybe I'm
No, I think what he's saying is if we disagree, it's wrong. I don't care if you disagree, or I don't mind if you disagree. If you say, like Goldilocks said, it's not in the system yet. If you say, I still think it's wherever, just don't say, because I know your kid's name and I just contacted your work and here's all you're a liar. I hope I met Silver Fox once. I don't think he's disingenuous. I hope he would see that we're just not trying to get clicks. We are actually trying to provide the best information as timely as possible. We do get it wrong at times. I think you may get it wrong if you disagree with some, but I'll also change my mind with a reasonable argument. Silver Fox is one of the most logical searchers. I think he's more cynical than I am, but then I get duped. So I totally get it. All I'm saying is you can disagree. It's how you disagree. Don't scorch the earth. Don't sit and make fun of the way I look or my PowerPoints, or say I'm pathetic.
Or where you work, or your full
or
name.
where I work, or any of those other things that some people do for hours and hours and hours. That's all my point. You can still disagree. You can say, I believe Yellowstone is involved with Forrest now because when this hits the system tomorrow, and Yellowstone is now corrupt and Forrest is still alive. I disagree with you, but as long as you have said it not personal, I don't have an issue. Don't call people snakes. Don't call people.
I think what Silver Fox means is when people say it wasn't in Yellowstone, and I say, well, you're wrong. Well, that's because the facts show me that you're wrong, but that's just my opinion. In other words, for people who don't believe it was in Yellowstone, I think what was revealed today through this motion proves that you're wrong. But you can still have your right to your opinion. I'm not saying you're wrong in voicing your opinion. I believe it's wrong. I believe it was in Yellowstone.
Well, some people still believe Forrest is alive, and some people think the treasure chest is still out there. I can say it's wrong in my opinion, but do we have to put the words "in my opinion" after every single sentence? Because in my opinion, we would have to put it at the end of every sentence, in my opinion, to say that it's my opinion what I speak. It is my opinion what I speak. Forrest has a death certificate. Some people think that's doctored. I can say Forrest has passed. Do I have to say Forrest has passed in my opinion? I don't think we need to do that because we already do it more than we should, in my opinion. Oh,
Davio says the delusion is that I was thinking I was happy in my wandering for nothing because he was in the wrong spot. But Davio, if you were happy in your wandering, you're happy in your boots on the ground. That this doesn't change it. Just because you were in the wrong spot doesn't invalidate that you were out in nature looking for Forrest Fenn's treasure chest. 100,000 people were wrong. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean the boots on the ground was for nothing. That's why I asked Cynthia, how do you feel about looking in New Mexico all that time when it wasn't there? And Cynthia's like, I'm fine with it. I'm glad I got out and looked for it. It's how you look at it. You're not delusional, Davio. You just did what everybody else did. But be glad that you got off the couch and you did what Forrest's plan was to get people out there in nature, right?
But let's go the other way. I asked Dig and Gypsy. You were so close. You were like within two.
Right.
You were the 200-footer. And Forrest gave her an email that basically drew her away from that spot. How do you feel? And she said at first she was bitter. She showed me the email. She called him some names, not as bad as the rumor said. Rumor said that she was like F-bombing and all that. She didn't, but she said she was really angry. But she's like, I went out there with my sisters and had a blast, and it was the greatest adventure. Like, and she walked by it by feet.
And Stuck in Chase Landia just summed up what I tried to say. If you were happy, why does it matter why? That's pretty much sums it up right there. Thank you, Stuck in Chase Landia. All right.
So I saw a question go by in the chat a few minutes ago where someone's asked me why I would go to Santa Fe, because I think I did say I was going to not let this go yet. I want to get the solutions for the community. The reason I go to Santa Fe is because that's where the Fenn estate is. That's where Zoe is, Shiloh is, and their representation. So I already stated today I'm going to try to work with them and see if we can get full closure on this so we all can move on.
Yeah, well, and it's funny because people were like, Cynthia didn't meet with Shiloh. And then she shows a picture of her sitting at I think it was Hyde Park with Shiloh at her campsite. Again, I don't think you need to, it's awesome when you provide that level, but it's just,
she's lying, guys. The three people
she's working
here, lying. Some people have outright said they lie in order to get views. They lie to be important. They lie for whatever reason. Nobody's lying, guys. We're giving our opinions, but nobody's lying.
But we can be wrong. It's when I wrote confirmed with GPS, that's what we felt at the time. We're going to be wrong at times. We're going with imperfect information, and we have people that are lying to us. And because of that, like Turd, this shows me well, it's still in GPS, but there's no fish. I believe this put GPS to bed, in my opinion. There's no fish there. There is no fish at that location that species would be affected.
Carrie says, congrats on correct usage of more than one exclamation mark. If you guys look at the title of the video, I still added 6 exclamation points. I just split them up.
This is the first time, though, that we have used that because it affected so many people. I never thought exclamation points would affect people. This is the first time there's not question marks with it, or there's not anyway.
Jimmy, we don't know the solution, but we do know that the treasure chest was found inside Yellowstone National Park. The motion today proves it. Guess what? In our opinion. In our opinion, the treasure chest. Do you know why? Because Forrest and Jack and the the park ranger of Yellowstone National Park had a Zoom 2 months after it was found. Why would they have a Zoom if it wasn't actually in Yellowstone National Park? So we don't know the actual solution, but we do know that the treasure chest was in Yellowstone National Park.
Okay. See, now this is where it puts Silverpox's latest comment. I don't know what you mean here. Is it better to be happy and ignorant or unhappy and intelligent? Life is a paradox. If you mean based on where you're at, sure. But you're supposing things, I'm assuming that's directed towards someone other than yourself. It could be yourself. We don't know. But we know the documents that are in the system as of tomorrow.
No, I'm not saying anything about anybody else. In my opinion, today's motion proved it was in Yellowstone National Park. If somebody else still wants to say it wasn't in Yellowstone National Park, well, I think you're wrong. But I'm not going to call you names. I'm not going to call you a liar. You have your opinion, and I have
Are you going to call their work? Are you going to talk about their kids?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Okay, enough on that.
There's a lot of things we know about YouTubers. We don't come on here and talk about it. I'll just
so Mary Green, I'm confused by your question, but I'm going to answer it anyway. So did Forrest know about the Zoom? Forrest was in the Zoom.
Yeah, Forrest was in the Zoom.
He participated as a part of the Zoom.
Forrest confirmed that in the Zoom to Yellowstone National Park that where Jack said he found it, Forrest said, yes, that is where I hid it. So yes, Forrest, this is probably the biggest breaking news. For anybody that's tuning in late, in August of 2020, Forrest Fenn, Jack Stoof, and one of the lawyers zoomed.
Actually, never mind. Forget it. It doesn't matter.
Zoomed with the head of the Yellowstone National Park to talk about the location. That's kind of the biggest breaking news, in my opinion. So Yellowstone National Park is known it was found in their park since August of 2020. Why have they not said anything? Why have they not gone live and told everybody, Cynthia?
Why hasn't who gone live?
Yellowstone National Park. As soon as they had that Zoom, why didn't they have a big press conference the next day? What's the
People
problem?
people need to go back and watch the beginning of this show.
Right.
Yeah, we're not going to. We've been on over 2 hours. Yeah.
In my opinion, stuck in Chaselandia, in my opinion. But this whole show is our opinion. I think maybe what bothers people is we say things as fact when really it's just our opinion.
But it's our reality.
It's our
fact.
YouTube show. I don't think we should have to say IMO after everything we talk about. I don't know. And I'm not going to put it in the description. All these comments are our opinion. So is the auction site BS? What do you guys think? The auction website. What do you think, Cynthia? Do you still think about that or you really don't care?
Oh, I don't know. Hopefully that'll come out in the deposition. Right, Christy? Isn't that
Yeah.
going to be one of
Ooh,
the
I never
questions?
thought if McCracken would ask him about the auction website, if that had anything to do with
Well,
it.
I don't know if it is or
I
not.
don't know either.
Maybe. Whatever. That part we have to wait and see.
Now, Mary says, holy crap, the supposed video from way back. So is this Zoom with Yellowstone National Park, the video, supposed video of Forrest going over the clues? Does
I
anybody
don't
know?
think so. I don't
No,
think so. I don't
It is
know.
not.
It's a separate. Okay.
It's
Interesting.
separate.
Okay. Wait, they zoomed after over a year after it was discovered. No, they zoomed 2 months after it was discovered, Sam. August of 2020. 2 months after it was discovered, they zoomed with Yellowstone National Park. Just to make
Now,
sure
here's where okay, so I think Goldilocks.
that was filed today.
So
Go ahead.
Goldilocks says they are worried about an increased visitors, but not worried that withholding the spot will do the opposite. Makes no sense. This is where I said last week, my brain is exploding. Exactly.
Right.
And I'm like, it's insane. And people are like, no, you're insane. You're stupid and all that. I am shocked, quite honestly, that a park that has 4 million plus visitors cares about the Forrest Fenn treasure coming out, that they are now intervening in a court. I could not have written this in a book and made it up, but it is factual, in my opinion, on Monday when you see the stamp. It is happening. That's what I find so interesting is I agree. I'm the messenger. So I'm saying this is the document. It will come. And once you see a stamp, everybody will realize it's in the court system. But most importantly, this boggles my mind. I would have never said though, somebody in that has a travel blog that Yellowstone would have come after them. So in that same way, I am surprised at Yellowstone's legal actions at times, but it seems to be the case, or in my opinion, it is the case, whatever the right terminology, no matter how I say it, it's wrong. So it doesn't matter.
Well, to defend Yellowstone, the history of the searchers there from the very beginning is horrible.
Yes.
I mean, they already know all the problems the searchers have created over the years. And the biggest one of all was that idiot that dug inside that historic cemetery there at Mammoth Hot Springs.
Right.
And this guy dug and ruined it.
Yeah. Well, and Christensen with the rappelling.
Yeah, I mean, right. And that was a rescue. So it's a combination of people digging and destroying the park versus the rescues they have to do. And so they absolutely, I think in my mind, they have a right to be concerned about what searchers are going to do. We have a bad history with them.
But in my opinion, they should do the opposite of what they're doing. They should come out with it, and they should somehow put a memorial, put a plaque on the roadside of 9 Mile Hole.
I totally agree with you, Mike.
To get across, yeah, that's what they should.
I totally agree with you. And if I can push this even farther after I talk to Zoe and Carl, that is one of the things that I want to bring up to them. Can we negotiate something with the Park Service to put some kind of a plaque there at 9 Mile Hole, at a tree, maybe the closest tree there is to Fenn Rock,
right.
Or well, probably not on a tree. However, they do a plaque. Can we get something for that? And that way people can go there. That will be the special place. No one has to wade, hurt the fish, risk falling in and getting hurt in the water or whatever. So yeah, that will be something else I will.
They should do that. I mean, if it becomes down to a matter of money, people could maybe set up a GoFundMe, set up whatever it takes.
Well, but let's think about this. So Yellowstone has said we have Ojo Caliente, we have Old Faithful, we have a plan for our park. So some eccentric millionaire has decided to put something in our park illegally. Somebody's now a bunch of resources because of because of different people. We see it in the FOIAs. They have damaged, they have died, they've had all this. So let's memorialize that. So we encourage the next crazy person, a set of searchers to come out. I think it'd be a hard negotiation. I agree with you. It's worth a shot, but I think Yellowstone hates every part of this. Forrest thought he was bigger than the laws of Yellowstone. Forrest thought he was going to do it, whether the law said it was okay or not. Jack broke the law, and a bunch of searchers have caused it. I don't think they want to memorialize. And it goes into, even if it was buried, not all of that. I think they're going to say, like we said, we're going away. We don't want to deal with this. That's my opinion, but it's worth a shot. I mean, what else do we have to do?
Well, there it is, everybody. Okay, hang on. Greg, is this true? Gregory says it's exactly 2.42 miles from Madison Junction to 9 Mile Hole. Does anybody know if that's true?
It's exactly 4.2 miles.
Maybe he means as the crow flies, not driving.
No, well, it parallels. The road absolutely parallels the river the whole way through the canyon.
No, it's 4.2 miles.
It's exactly 4.2. I've measured it several times, and I think it's in one of my videos.
I was in the car with you on one of those
Oh,
times.
yeah. I think
we went from the
That's
Madison Junction and we drove, and it was like 4.1, 4.2. It's 4.2 miles, 42.
Vertigo says, I don't think a plaque in Yellowstone is appropriate. Okay. I mean, maybe it's not. Do they have plaques to commemorate anything else? Like,
yeah, there's plaques there's plaques all over.
To show what the natural landmarks are, right?
No, there's plaques of the history. I mean, you can even go to Madison Junction and read about the National Park Mountain, which is the mountain peak right there at the bridge where you cross Madison Junction. I mean, they have a big plaque explaining all of that. You have to get out of your car and walk to it, but yeah, it's there. Yeah, maybe Fenn Rock. Maybe we should just make it that Fenn Rock is the memorial, and people can just go text Fenn Rock and let it go, and just let it go.
That's true. Maybe Yellowstone is pretty pissed. Maybe Yellowstone is not happy that this all, the money they've had to spend. They just want to be done with it. So
yeah,
right. If he went in beforehand, I think, and said, I kind of want to do this, but then he thought it would come out. I don't know. Maybe if he was a little bit more a part of it, but it was almost like flying in the face of kind of thing. And people think that there's a ring over there. So they're going to purge over whether they're prepared or not. I mean, people have already said, taking a beach cruiser to get to 9 Mile Hole, my God, it just seems very not smart in negative 11-degree weather. But that's just me. I guess maybe I use common sense. So
hey, wait a minute. I rode my bicycle in there in the mid-teens.
Wait, did you have
to prepare?
Right. And did you have a beach cruiser, or did you actually have a bike that would? I have a beach cruiser.
I actually had a street bike. It was not a beach cruiser.
Oh, okay. And maybe you have been equipped with the type of, I saw you. I mean, you were in there somewhere. You were all wrapped up. I don't think the average searcher, I wouldn't even know what to do in that situation, let alone declare that I'm going to do it on YouTube.
So Jeremy saying, Cynthia, you had foreknowledge of this. Anything we should expect going forward?
Oh, you just get blown
not
up.
Not until I get it. I'm not going to do shit that I won't give my sources out. So I will wait to where the source works with me. I want Zoe.
We tried it with this one, right?
Yeah,
we tried it with this one.
Yeah.
And look what happened. We were told we were stupid. We were why do it again?
Moving forward, you got two options. One is Jack and one is Zoe representing the Fenn estate. I don't know Jack, and I'm sure Jack isn't going to talk to me. My best chance is talking to Zoe through Carl or with Carl and trying to come up with something that will put this baby to bed and everyone can have closure. All the people that believe Jack is Jack, believe Forrest Fenn is not still living, and believe whatever is legal court documents. For those people, I want to give them closure. And I agree with the people in the chat who said they need the solutions to that poem. That is my goal.
Anywhere.
That is my goal. Anywhere. That is my goal, to work with Zoe and try to make that possible.
Well, let me ask this, and I guess maybe we'll wrap up with this, because we are going to do a show tomorrow night, everybody, our normal 6 p.m. time, and we can we'll see if it hits the court docket officially, and or whatever you call it, the case, and we'll talk about it. But if the motion is granted by the judge, meaning the location cannot be disclosed in that probate case, does that mean the Fenn family and nobody else can come out with it legally either? Like, does that mean, they can't come out with the location? Shiloh or Zoe or anybody.
That's what so that's my predicament. If I find the picture of the Nook log beyond a shadow of a doubt, I need legal advice with how to proceed.
And
after I saw what was in the documents and understanding what the Supra states, I am not going to put my financial life at risk to do something that could get me in trouble. So I will seek legal counsel. But I mean, not until I find it, or
right.
You know,
if
that's
you
a moot point. You know,
but I don't even mean a searcher. I mean somebody who knows. Meaning it's Jack, the Fenn estate, or the lawyers. They can't legally come out with it. I always thought the Fenn estate would come out with it.
I agree.
Or Jack would write a book, but it sounds like that can't happen now.
I agree with you that, in my opinion, they legally would not be. They'd be an idiot. I mean, the Supra right there explains it. So, yeah, it's going to have to.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Perhaps it has been leaked out that it's 9 Mile Hole. No one believes it without confirmation, and I don't blame anyone. But I mean, everybody wants it one way or another. Don't have secret sources, so you need to say who the sources are. Oh, when you say the sources, then we're going to harass them and go after them and email them to the point that they say, I'm going to get a stalking order against you and litigate against you. Stop and leave me alone. No one wants to do that. This is human behavior.
I don't think the problem is naming 9 Mile Hole per se.
Correct.
I think the problem is giving up the GPS coordinates of the actual Nook where the 2 park rangers went over and looked at it. Or in the general area, wherever Jack and Forrest described it to them. She said in the legal document, they went and saw it.
Right.
That specific spot is, I think, the problem. If you give that up and people go there and dig for that emerald ring, if it's my picture with my lid of the replica lid of the treasure chest, so it's exactly the same as Jack's picture. If I put that out there with the GPS, am I going to be held accountable for Yellowstone to fix the damage of the idiots that are going to go dig for that ring?
And any potential improvement.
That is what I have to find out from a legal someone that knows.
Well, and here's a question.
I can do.
If this is perfect, I think if Cynthia or Rudy can't show the spot, then I will go myself. The park secrecy isn't working. So here's the thing that I think, and it would be good for you to communicate to the family and to Yellowstone. Like I said, some people were making fun of me and how stupid I was last week for going over the metrics. The reason I did that is not to say, oh, look how great we are. I don't have your metrics. So I didn't mean that you guys aren't as great as we are. What I meant to say is look at the trajectory of our community. It is actually growing right now. We just had someone on Facebook say, I'm brand new to this because the mystery of this is so incredible. Right. Adam didn't get into this until after because of the mystery. Right now, our community is growing. So the strategy is not working of the park and Forrest and Jack's secrecy. We're not going anywhere until we get closure. And so that's where, though I appreciated the stance of the park and Zoe and Jack, we will continue to derive information as much as possible. This will dwell on the family, I think, forever, unless something more can come out. In my opinion, now this started before 2010 was before the Supra Act. So could there be a negotiation with Yellowstone to say the precedent is there now in the future? We've got to put this out because you're going to have more people all around the park now, because now we know it's in the park, and anyone in the future doesn't have plausible deniability because the Supra wasn't even in place. I think the family needs to I know Forrest was shocked that people were still around 2 months after because they didn't have a solve. Zoe needs to know we will be here 26 years from now, still looking for answers if we don't have it. And Jack will only be like 42 by then.
And I'll just say this for myself, I'm only speaking for myself, but if the solution came out, if what Forrest intended for the 9 clues and the spot came out, well, we don't have a show anymore. We would tell a couple shows to talk about it, but then we would move on to something else because that's it. That's the holy grail. That's the truth that everybody wants. And once it's out, and we know we can verify it somehow, then people can have their opinions, but
part of it, I think they think the crazy people are never going to go away. The people that believe it's in their spot, no matter what is said and what is done. And a few of the haters, will go away. They will probably go and hate on the family, or they already have. They've demanded answers from Shiloh, or demanded this, or that will still continue. But right now, the reason that we're making so much headway is because we have so many obsessed yet reasonable people in the hunt. I think, this is my opinion, the Cynthias, the Myselves, the Goldilockses, the Rudys, the people that are the Sams, I can go on and on with the reasonable people. The reasonable people will go away if we get a confirmation of the spot and the solve. There will be 20 people left in chat, and they're the same 20 people that had a terrible life before, and they're going to have a terrible life after, and it's all Forrest's fault. There will be 20 left, and eventually they will have other things they'll fixate on, and they'll go away. Right now, we're not 20. We're 5,000, because there's reasonable people like us that want the answers. If we got the answers, that, in my opinion, is the only way the Fenn family is going to get peace, and Jack is going to get peace. Not from the 20, but from the 5. I think we're around 5. We get about 5,000 views per show at this point. We will not be 5,000. I believe we will be maybe 100 or 200. And most of the watching will go away, because the hate stuff just isn't, except for the 20, I just don't think the hate stuff is fun for most people to watch.
Sam says, why are people who look for the ring idiots? That would make the people who look for the chest idiots, right? Why is one okay and not the other? Well, first off, I didn't call anybody an idiot. So I
did.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. I didn't hear it then. Yeah. Hey, if you want to look for the ring, go look for the ring. I don't know if you want to answer that, Cynthia, or not.
Because we know Forrest hit a chest. If you were doing this, if you ever searched boots on the ground for the chest, then you must have believed that Forrest really hit a chest. The emerald ring is all speculation whether or not it's still there. And
but let me ask.
I don't mean so much that you're going to go look for it. I mean that you are going to go dig for it, which is so illegal in Yellowstone National Park to dig. In my opinion, that makes you an idiot if you're going to break the rule and dig. Okay. Now, I will say, after that picture of the chest came out where it was buried, where the first picture that Jack took where it was buried, I could not believe how many emails I got privately of people who actually had metal detectors in the park searching, and a metal detector. A metal detector is also highly illegal in the park. Mm-hmm. So
but if you have an exact log, in my opinion, okay, Nookers, when you guys had that spot that you thought it was in, did you guys look around a little bit for an emerald ring?
Fuck right, we did. And we had a device, an electronic device to help us find it. You're goddamn right.
That's right, full court family. No name calling, everybody. We try not to name call, but people get their emotions wrong.
Oh no, wait. I'm going to be very clear here. You're talking about people hating you, and then you call people crazy. If you contact my work, talk about my children, secretly record me, or go after me personally, or sit in front of my home, you are batshit crazy. No question about it. That is what you are. The people hating on me that go on for hours and hours, you are not well in life. You need to find a new life. But the people that have done some of the things they've done, they are actually, they're worse than that. And I won't go into it. But if you are comparing me saying, you guys are crazy, to people in front of my home confronting my son where he had to run inside, I'm sorry if you think those are the same. You're wrong. Not in my opinion. You're wrong to all humane people on this earth. Period. End of discussion. There's no opinion about it. You're either a good person or a predator. And predators don't get to be in my world.
You're talking about searchers who are crazy with the wrong spot. But
no,
I can say somebody who still thinks it's in New Mexico, in my opinion, they're crazy. But that just means factually, we just have proof that it's in Yellowstone. But I don't consider that name calling. You know what I mean? I just think that's saying, hey, you're crazy. I don't know. Everybody's got their own opinion on the name calling and everything. As far as what is the level that's okay? So should obsessed be the right word? Should not thinking clearly be the right? You can go down and down the list.
Okay, so we're not them. So no, we're not going into any of that. Yeah. No. Okay, so I think we've done enough here. The document is out. I'm sure the document's on Thor. You will see a stamp on Monday with it. I will completely stand corrected if this document does not end up in the court system document and all of that. Yeah. So there you have it. There it is. Yeah.
All right. Any last words, Cynthia? And you're welcome to come back on the show tomorrow if you want to.
Sure. Are you going to have another guest that I requested?
Yes. or I
Or-
have not.
Have you contacted this person yet?
Not yet, but I
Okay.
believe that will
So-
happen. But I want to, I need
Let's
to.
just say this. We hope to have a panel tomorrow night, everybody, where we can talk about this new information that has come out Friday, but McCracken posted it today saying,
And
hey,
it is on Thor. There is the document
there
where
it
it's on
is.
Thor.
hintofriches.com. You can actually go read it for yourself.
Yeah, and we'll have some more time to digest any points that we see, anything that I'll have a PowerPoint, a more thorough PowerPoint. I kind of threw this together a little bit quickly.
Cracker
So,
Jack. Thanks for not naming Copper Dan publicly, Capra. Too funny.
okay.
Okay, fair enough, Silver Fox. They called me crazy for calling the proof factual. We all have our opinions. There you go. I get it. I see what you did there.
The
so.
word crazy is not an issue. I'm sorry to say, we're talking about stuff at a whole different level. Go see the hate channel. You guys know what I'm talking about. So let's just leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it
Tomorrow,
alone.
Forrest Fenn Treasure Found, 6 p.m. Pacific, our normal time. Yeah, we'll have a lot to talk about to digest. Ladies, I'll just say this.
Good job.
You guys have always brought the news.
Do the other one. Do the other one.
The O? The O
No,
thing?
Tom, you're wrong. No, do the vindication one.
Oh, you want this one? I see.
Vindication.
And the other channels and the other searchers, you can disagree. Just don't be a jerk about it. You don't have to call names and all that stuff. That's all we're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's it, everybody. Yeah, so more breaking news for the Forrest Fenn Treasure Found. So, Cynthia, thanks for coming on. And
Mike, thank you. I know this was pre you waking up. And
I was asleep, and they said, get up and get it going. We have breaking news. So
yeah,
I just do what I'm told, everybody.
I love it. I love it. So, yeah. And so the PowerPoint, go back and look at it. You know, these things take me a lot of time. Go back. The thumbnail alone is exciting, guys. Sorry.
I'll just end it with this.
I wish you weren't a liar.
That sums it up. For whoever that's to, I don't even know. Okay, everybody, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Hope everybody enjoys their Sunday. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.